Yep, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hold this up any more than absolutely because obviously we're starting a little bit late.
Yep.
That's cool though.
Yep. It
Let's
works.
get that clock on the road.
All right.
Hey everyone, this is a Mexican Crossing Lines with your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp,
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
and you're listening to 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we're adding local color to your airwaves. And you can also find our past podcasts on kpppfm.com. You can look under a Mexican Crossing Lines, but we've got a whole bunch of other shows that you can check out there as well.
That's right, and I've been keeping up with it pretty well. As Cindy said, you can go to kpppfm.com. That's our main website for the radio station. Remember, we're a nonprofit radio station. We're non-commercial. And we do a website where we put all of our podcasts. We do a Mexican Crossing Lines. We do Finding Me. We do other shows, and we put them on the web. So all the shows that Mexican Crossing Line has done is under the programs under Mexican Crossing Lines, kpppfm.com. And you just click on the program links. You can also go to the archives and look at all the shows that have been produced. We've been putting our shows on YouTube recently, because Facebook's kind of messing with us, and we think that Facebook will be going away at some point for us as an option. So we're going to still do the live broadcasts on 88.1 Fargo Moorhead on Facebook. And then we're going to take those files and we edit the audio files if we play them on the radio. We take out all the swear words and all that stuff, and some of the silences and some of the mistakes, so the listening audience can hear the show. And also, if you go to the page, you can actually watch the show there. You can check out a few of our other Facebook sites. We have the People's Press Project at Mexi-Can. Cindy has a public page at Cindy Goes Schempp. And also, you can contact us by email, Cindy at kpppfm.com, Duke at kpppfm.com. You can call that call-in number right on the screen and leave a message there. It's actually a message line. So if you want to leave us a voicemail, basically, you can call 701-566-0917. I think I have that number memorized. You can also tweet us at media_ppp. And let's see. On the website, kpppfm.com, there's a contact form. So you can actually send us a message that way. Or on any of the podcasts we do, at the bottom, there's a comment section. You can actually make comments, and sometimes people do, and there's a thread gets going there. But it seems like we've been pretty much working on Facebook, and Facebook's been the area where people have gone the most for our shows. But sometimes they get buried. We post other things, and we're bringing up other issues in the community. And we put things of interest out, so those shows a lot of times will get buried down lower. So one of the best ways to find the show is just go to kpppfm.com. If you're looking for a specific show or a name, just do that plus the name, and it'll search on the site and find exactly what you need.
Mm-hmm. I know. Our show tonight is titled Glitterati, and I want to direct you to my last show, Hollywood, and the shows prior to that. They kind of follow each other like a telenovela, It's
Yeah, exactly.
Except it's all factual. It's all based on what happened out at Standing Rock and what's been happening since Standing Rock, which we've been reporting on for the better part of 2 years.
Yep.
And the Kathleen Bennett case. So go back and watch Hollywood, Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, the show that we did on Red Wolf Pope.
Oh, yeah.
The fake Indian that was hanging out with
everybody.
The witnesses in the Kathleen Bennett case. On the day they met Wes Clark and Sadef Buyakataman, the was she the CFO or something of the Veteran Stand for Standing Rock?
Yeah.
That organization that many people felt defrauded veterans out at Standing Rock, did not reimburse a lot of people, and whose organization was involved in the kidnapping of Kathleen Bennett.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, the kidnapping of Kathleen Bennett's mom and the jailing of the innocent woman, Kathleen Bennett.
Yeah, they paid Bill Runningfisher,
Yes, they did. They paid him. They paid L'Oreal Blackshaw. And we got interviews with all of them, including Michael A. Wood Jr. I also recently shared to you the disturbing connections between Turkish Americans. I'm not even sure if they're Americans, but they're people from Turkey that are here in the United States that are connected to the Young Turks and the Veterans Stand for Standing Rock through Sedef Buyakataman, as well as Aylin Altanuk, who was one of the, one of those GoFundMe babies out at Standing Rock that's been spying on people, following people around the country, like our good friends Samantha Magdaleno and Brendan Nastasio, whose doorstep they showed up on recently, not literally, but in their backyard, in the state of Michigan. And that is all to say that there's been a lot of really disturbing, ongoing Standing Rock remnants, Standing Rock phonies, like rearing their ugly heads again. I recently saw a bunch of them were out here in North Dakota. It was very disturbing. Yeah,
doing a reunion tour, I guess. Who knows? I was kind of shocked at those folks getting together, especially when some of them are facing sentencing coming up very soon.
Yes, and I'm going to be talking about them. Believe me, I'm going to be talking about it. Because I'm like, Dee Dee Banerjee is hanging out with Mike Fassig in the War Pony. Mike Fassig, the guy that recently helped to cover up the crime of his son, Derek Fassig, another informant. So Dee Dee's just comfortably sitting with somebody that turned state's evidence against rural water protectors. Yeah. And whose son is also a snitch for Morton County and a criminal who raped and kidnapped a woman. And she's just like, oh, the memories of the War Pony. Yeah. I'm like, really? You're ready to just promote rapist men and their sons and that kind of stuff. Okay, cool.
Yep, I guess.
So I wanted to mention really quickly before I get into my show tonight, which again is Glitterati, and you're going to have to go back and watch the other shows that I did recently so that you can really understand all of these connections. I went from, the people connected to Hollywood to another layer we're going to go up. And these people are connected to the Glitterati is all I could think of calling them. The upper crust. The creme de la creme of humans, I guess, or, basically rich people. Yeah. Is what I'm going to say. But, many people would consider them, part of the, I don't know, the world leadership, the Illuminati, the people that consider themselves to be the whatever.
The influencers and the controllers of things. And part of the white culture, the United States white culture is all about this glitter of being, when you get close to a celebrity, somehow it makes you more important. Right. And I see a lot of that with people glumming on to these famous people, and then you see the famous people actually speak about something, you think they don't really know anything, and then they're supporting something, but they can't even fathom the deepness of what they're involved in, but they get just brought along, and people rub elbows with them, and some of it rubs off on them, and then I guess that makes them feel like they're more important, or they have more access, and some of these dumb, rich people will give them money, and that's probably the whole motivation.
Rich people like to give each other money. Yeah. They definitely trust each other with money, but, when you wonder why the money never reaches the people it should reach. Mm-hmm. If you've been paying attention to my shows, this is one long saga about why that is.
Yeah, exactly.
And who's making these horrible decisions and not checking anyone's backgrounds, whether advertently or inadvertently. It would seem to me that if you're dealing with a bunch of veterans and you're a real veteran yourself and you give a rat's ass about that and want to protect the people that you're getting involved with, you would make sure that you ensure to check the backgrounds of those that you put in leadership roles, because otherwise you would be liable for anything that went wrong. and lots went wrong. Oh, so much
Yep.
went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, go back and watch Liar Liar Pants on Fire. That's another one of those in the line of shows I recently have done that will help get you back on track if you don't know what I've been talking about on my show in the last 5-6 shows, and finally trumped up. Trumped up. That's kind of where I kicked it off into this direction. But today we're going up, and we're all the way up to Glitterati. Now, I wanted to start off with one of the places that I've shown you a lot in my last several shows that everyone went to.
Yeah.
This march in Washington, D.C. that took place on March 10th. And
2017.
2007, thank you, Duke. There was everyone there. On past shows in which I was specifically talking about the Kathleen Bennett case, I talked about how everyone went there.
Yep.
One quick reference to a news piece before I get down, we go down the rabbit hole. Go get snacks. If you don't have snacks, grab a chair, get comfy, because it's going to be a while. Okay, we got a lot to cover. It was really important stuff. A lot of people were commenting on the fact that Alex Jones and InfoWars had all of their media removed from different platforms. How many different platforms did you hear? Which ones?
See, I think it was Alex Jones. It was YouTube, Facebook, and iTunes, which is Apple. And you know, I've just kind of been following that the past couple of days, that he's been basically cut off, accounts deleted, not just suspended, but accounts being deleted because of violation of whatever their community standards are. You know, and we've seen, you know, Alex Jones is pretty vile, you know, and pretty hateful. You know, he does hate speech, and you know, so I'm if they're holding him accountable to that, and then they take off a picture of yours because you're at a wedding and people are holding up the scriptures and dancing, and they say that's against their community standards. I wonder what they're measuring it on. But I've heard that, and I also heard Roger Stone has lost his Twitter account, and I'm not sure what else he's lost. But those two are like all of a sudden going off the radar. And it kind of makes me go, I don't know what you think about that, but it's like, I'm not quite sure what all that means.
All of the commentary so far that I have heard has gone thusly. Free speech rights are important. Yeah. And this bodes badly for the rights of other people that want to have their voices heard. Look, this is the wrong approach, folks. Just really quickly, let me tell you why I think that. Because people whose voices have been marginalized have always been attacked for what they say, even when it is minimal. Y'all remember Karen calling the cops on me?
Yep.
And me having to go to court and spending nearly $1,000 to defend my rights to free speech as a media producer in the Fargo-Moorhead region. So, and I have shown people on my show here on A Mexican Crossing Lines the repeated harassment and threats that I have received, both online, over the telephone, and at my door by the cops many times. Many of those times. So people like me are going to continue to be censored, while people like Alex Jones won't. What I think about this is, why now? Why them? And because of the close proximity of Roger Stone to the Trump presidency, and the things I've shown you in my past shows about the way that they are trying to get this WWE type of entertainment element kind of campaigning going in Washington. go back and watch Sticks and Stones, in which I revealed a lot of this stuff and even talked about the connections between Wesley Clark and Roger Stone and Russian television and Oliver Stone's son, Sean Stone, the guy that invited Wes Clark Jr. to go out to Standing Rock. So, did you get that clip of the call with Wes in there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, because I'm gonna reference that in a
Yep.
wee bit. And I just thought, how come no one is talking about that they've removed access to all of this information that is archived of all of the things said by people on InfoWars? Now it's unavailable for us to look at the past at what they said during investigations that directly tie to Roger Stone and things he has said on that media platform, which have now been censored, hidden. How convenient. It wasn't their idea to take all that stuff so nobody could search it and look back at it. It was the censors because of their hate speech, because America suddenly cares. And I'm supposed to buy that. Oh, yes. They should be censored because they're so racist and Americans care about that every day.
Yeah, not.
What? Que censorship ni que ocho cuartos. Bunch of nonsense if you ask me. So I just had to say that, and now I'm going to get into my show. Let's start off by showing you this video I was telling you about. And this video is a digital smoke signals Myron Dewey production video by the title of Nation to Nation. It features kidnapper of Mary Trujillo, the woman that falsely accused Kathleen Bennett. Mulaney Stoneman, prominently in this video. Vanessa Boland, one of the paramedics that made a false statement given to Morton County. One of the quote-unquote paramedics that was with the Medic and Healer Council out at Standing Rock. That did so much harm by keeping quiet when she could have come forward early on and let this woman go free. She had to be approached several times. She was partying it up out in March while Kathleen Bennett was rotting away in a jail and Mary Trujillo was dying in a hospital. But she was celebrating out in Washington, D.C. with Mulaney and Faith Spotted Eagle and all of those people that we told you about. You're going to see Ed Higgins is there. Prolific the Rapper is there. So many other people, so many of the Standing Rock phonies who went to congregate there. And of course, I showed you Christina Hollenback, one of the kingpins in all of this, was also there celebrating with them. Kingfisher was there. Tina Pugliese was there. All those people that were in that diner were there. The Van Exit guy was there. I mean, all of those people that were probably hired as part of this operation to go and do documentary filmmaking and or manage the B-list actors like Maggie, Day, and Seven, McDonald, and all of the different things that they were working on. They were all there. So Ernesto Burbank is there. Takata Iron Eyes, the daughter of Chase, is there. I can only imagine mom or dad were also there. I know Juanita Jumping Eagle was there because she was out there at the time, I think, talking in a panel of women about women's issues. Of course, Linda Black Elk was there. Mark Tilson from IP3 was there. Thomas Goldtooth was also there. So here is that. Oh, William Hawk, which was at one time with Activate Now, and also later with the Women Indigenous Media that went to Burning Man. Remember that? Okay. So all of those people are featured in this Digital Smoke Signals film I wanted you to remember and take a look at. Here it is.
Today started out very fresh. Nice rain, lightly coming down, kind of light snow. And as we came around the corner to the government building, you can hear the crowd yelling, Minnie Washoni, water is life, water is life, water is life. As I stood in each direction looking from left to right, I was more in awe of what I was witnessing. I started to see all the water protectors from over the months of Osheti and Rosebud and Heyoka and over in Sacred Stones. Very beautiful. So many people. It felt like they were brothers and sisters, or allies and indigenous people coming in all four directions, and remembering those good times just by looking at people, and everyone's so happy and empowered to be standing there in unity together. It was beautiful. But the first walk we started was very cool because it was at Trump Towers, and they erected a teepee right there in front of his lawn, and those security guards loved it. But you know, educating them as well, there's always an opportunity to educate, and I educate them about the issues that were happening. They didn't know why the indigenous people were there, but they thought it was cool. And we just spoke a little bit about what was going on, and also, here's how you can help, is by divesting. But watching the grandmas walk in the circle, watching the strong women walk in the circle around the teepee and be guided by elders and youth, is a powerful moment to witness.
I was going to say, the best part is being in front of the Trump Tower and letting our voices be heard, letting them know that no one's giving up. No one's giving up.
After Trump Towers, we started our walk to the White House, and we got to witness the speakers from different tribes, musical speakers, artists perform. It was very, very cool. Today was a beautiful day, and we wrapped it up by going to have dinner over at the monument where the teepees were all stacked up. And it was a beautiful sign of resistance and education as people from all over the country and the world were watching and participating.
Together, brothers and sisters, I don't know more. Together, brothers and sisters, I don't know more.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They should have told people around the world were watching, and they should have told them, yeah, one of our elders has been kidnapped and put in a hospital against her will and taken away from her family, and her daughter's been imprisoned. Oh, wait, Mulaney's right here. She's the one that did it.
Yeah, who's that lady petting Mulaney's hair in that
I don't know
video?
who that was.
If you guys were watching this on my live stream and not listening on the radio, and you know who that woman is, please let me know. I want to investigate further. But that brought back a lot of memories and also gave me clues because Wes was at that party. We showed you Taboo, the guy from Black Eyed Peas that was performing there in that video on the stage. He was in the Red Wolf Pope show that I did called Wolf in Sheep's Clothing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because he's just recently been arrested for raping women and filming himself doing it through cameras that he set up in Airbnbs that he rented out. Yeah, in 2 different states. That we know of.
Yes.
That we know of. And that is who, again, Josh and Ren were introduced to by Wes and Sedef. He was hanging out with them. That's who they was hanging out with. And the fake Indians, fake veterans, fake marshals, and just phony people, that the numbers of them that they were hanging out with that misrepresented who they were, or who they are. Nazis, skinheads, undercover skinheads, or like Benji Winderweedle, men's rights activists come Standing Rock
Yeah.
veteran?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of these people suddenly became famous at Standing Rock and managed to cover over or hide or lie about their pasts, which really don't have anything to do with that indigenous movement. They shouldn't have been put in any kind of leadership role. And all of that, it's had some very harmful effects on the people, the indigenous people of this area, whom supposedly everyone came here in support of.
Yeah.
Right? What you don't see is the aftermath of what was left behind after these folks left. What I will tell you now, and of course, you know, we've been watching as a lot of these Standing Rock phonies, after participating in the Kathleen Bennett kidnapping and false imprisonment, and or the hiding or covering up of it, or supporting those who were hiding and covering it up in the media, like Myron Dewey. There was a whole group of people that came out of the Standing Rock media that actually attacked our reporting because of their proximity and involvement with the people that did the kidnapping. And it's hard to wrap my head around, because I was thinking to myself, did everyone get involved in this crime? And if they were so comfortable, all of them getting involved in this crime, and then later, when they were told about it, covering it up, covering for the people involved in the crime, and then when they were confronted about it, lying and becoming defensive and making threats against us for reporting the truth, I started to think, like, how many other crimes were these people involved in? And then the question started to answer itself. This one got convicted for this, that one got convicted for that, and the hits just keep on coming. Who's next? Who's next? I don't know. I don't know, but we keep going further and further and further on up this ladder, and I cannot help but think, when is Robert Mueller going to call me? Call me, Bobby.
That's right.
I think I have a lot of answers that you might want to look into a little bit closer. Maybe you weren't paying attention because it was in my backyard, but do remember, please, if you're listening out there, Robert Mueller, remember that Maria Butina, the recently indicted Russian agent, was living with her buddy, her little boyfriend, in South Dakota. Let's just leave it there. Okay, so where did these Standing Rock phonies go, and what have they been doing since? This is important to note, because as you know, the crime they committed involved women, elderly women. And in Mary Trujillo's case, a woman with dementia who these people tried to say had been raped by her own family, or raped by a man at the camp. Raped, they said so many times, 3-4 times they said raped, such that they wanted a rape kit performed on an 82-year-old elderly woman with dementia. Thank God it was not approved. Thank God that they didn't allow that to happen. But these people, now going around the globe, touting the great things that they did, that they were working on. They're talking about the women. They're talking about how they defend the women. And these very men, as I'm going to show you, are people that not only stayed silent about the Kathleen Bennett case, but they actually went the extra step of covering it up, lying about it, and then finally attacking me repeatedly and directly. So, let's start with Myron, because he did all of the things I just said, and he did them in the order I just said them. And he is now traveling with Patrick Kincaid in Japan. Or, well, he was. He was. These are not that long ago, but they weren't yesterday. They were probably several months ago.
Yep.
Check this out. This is an article in the Last Real Indians. There's Patrick Kincaid behind Myron Dewey and a group of Japanese people. And it says, activists push Japanese banks to divest from fossil fuel projects. In solidarity with Japan-based water protector, indigenous professor, journalist, and documentary filmmaker. Man, that list of BS just keeps getting longer and longer, doesn't it?
Yep.
Myron Dewey and indigenous inherent rights? Indigenous inherent rights attorney William Patrick Kincaid, Cheyenne Nation, met with Bank of Tokyo Mitsubishi UFJ representatives at the headquarters in Tokyo at 1 p.m. May 28, 2018. So it wasn't that long ago.
It was a few months ago, 4 months ago.
The thing about Patrick Kincaid is, and correct me if I'm wrong out there, if anyone knows, because I don't know for sure, we just found out that, what's his name, Red Wolf Pope was a fake lawyer too, but there's a lot of these native people that claim to be lawyers, and they don't have to register as actual. They don't have to actually have a juris doctorate in America to be a lawyer. So a lot of them that have been running around saying, "I'm a lawyer," are not licensed anywhere currently to be practicing the law. Like Chase Ironize, like Tara Houska, like Red Wolf Pope, like. The list is getting really long. Was Holly T. Bird on that list as well? I believe she might have been.
Wow.
I could be wrong. I don't know. If you got a license, let me know. I don't know if any of these people are licensed, but as Bruce Nestor said in that interview that Samantha recorded, that I shared a while back, Bruce Nestor, an attorney for the WPLC that was representing, before he was fired, Vijay Anastasio, the man that disarmed Kyle Thompson at Standing Rock, he said they just needed to put some Indians on the WPLC so it looked like it wasn't the white people running the show. Basically. I'm paraphrasing. So it surprised me that they just grabbed up a bunch of Indians that practiced law at one point or got some kind of training, or who were just claiming it because you know, Red Wolf Pope was claiming, and his dad before him and his granddad before him, that they were all Indians, and they were 100% Chinese.
Wow.
So that happens. And Myron and Patrick are out there, and they're trading on their work on behalf of women. This is the part that irks me because, and I'll tell you why in a second, but listen to him talking about what they're doing in Japan.
My name is Myron Dewey. I'm a professor, youth media trainer. I work with violence against women, and I'm also here to share the story of the missing Indigenous women that are going on from these man camps and these pipelines, which these banks normally don't know that they're funding. So we're here to help educate and empower them to invest their money culturally, invest it, spiritually invest reinvest it into the community in culturally appropriate investing.
My name is Patrick Kincaid, and I come from the Sudai people and the Seven Council Fire Nations. Which we signed a treaty with the United States called the Fort Laramie Treaty. And I am here in Japan to see if we can unify with the Japanese citizens and the indigenous peoples over here in a coalition to protect our water globally.
I watched them shift. They were very attentive. The reminder of them that, to the men, that we're born of water and that we drink from the same water, and this is this earth. And this earth is we consider our mother. And if we consider this earth our mother, then we don't rape her by putting pipelines in the ground and desecrating that sacred site, those burial sites, the natural law, and letting our dead rest. And so I'm hoping that they took it in, and I could feel it. You know, we were, I think both ends, they could hear it in our language and our emotions, that we are passionate about it. I also let them know that I got to take this message back, you know, so we wanted a timeline as well. And we'll be followed up with that timeline here with our allies here in Japan.
Lip service, really. They did take the time to meet with us, and I think we hit home with them on a few points, because I think, you know, my background being law and science, I wanted to share with them the violations the bank has of their equator principles and their association with the Dakota Access Pipeline, and back that up with hard science. The tar sands oil extraction's the dirtiest. And it doesn't only just put carbon in the air, it destroys one of the biggest carbon reservoirs on the planet. So my children aren't the only ones affected, their children are affected as well.
What they're doing wrong is they're not honoring their own policies, and that's what's important. And instead of divesting hard like we've been doing in the States, which several major cities have divested, they have the same principles we do as indigenous people in protecting the water, close connection with their water, which is our first medicine. As men, you know, we're born into water. We know that. You know, we're also drinking from the same water on this planet, which is we consider our Mother Earth. And so the same principles we would like them that they list in their policies is to hold accountable themselves to those principles. And that's why we're here, is just to share with them as indigenous people, like, the like-minded thinking is going to help us all globally, because we're on the other side of the planet, and we're here to just share with them the likes and the dislikes, and that this is harming our homelands.
I think what we have to realize here is that we're starting to see a real division between the corporate individual wealth and us normal citizens. And if the banks want to fund, you know, these acts of genocide, we as citizens can unify and divest.
The pressure, I think, you know, I was very emotional because I'm representing several different categories. When we look at the insects and the animals that can't speak for themselves that are harmed by these pipelines, the plant life that does not come back after that, which we need that to breathe. The really simple ecology part of it that is so emotional, because we're connected to that medicines and we're connected to the wildlife and the landscape and our surroundings. But the women that don't have a voice, that were raped, that were missing, that are murdered from these man camps, I wanted to make sure that I gave the powerful explanation in a language that I didn't speak. And so I'm hoping that they'll take the time, when we show them pictures of the human rights violations, the constitutional violations, that's got to be heavy for people who didn't know what was going on, to witness that, hey, here's what we're investing in. We need to look into see what we're investing in. So again, I just wanted to give them the opportunity and share with them. I'm not here to cause problems for you, but I'm here to work with you, and we're going to do something different than in the States. Instead of shut you down, we're going to say let's honor those policies and procedures that you have listed for the international communities that you're lending money to, and these entrepreneurs like Energy Transfer and Dakota Access Pipeline that are committing these human rights violations with your investment.
My message would be to consider what happened with this nuclear spill and look at your water right now. It's pristine. I remember just 15 years ago, my water was pristine too, and that's no longer the case, and it never will be in my lifetime. So if the Japanese citizens can learn from that and not allow their banks to fund extraction locally here, they'll be doing their children and grandchildren a great justice.
Around Japan, it's amazing how water is at the center, and the prayer and the meals, and that we have so much in common here. And the fish, for my tribe, we're culturally tied to our food source. And let's stand together, protect the water and protect the earth. Water protectors and land defenders in a good way. He shot you. Thank you.
That was so disturbing on so many levels, because I have a message for Mr. Myron Dewey of Digital Smoke Signals. I think you forgot about the time that you engaged in attacking this reporter when you did that horrible and false report about this reporter, Cindy Gomez-Schempp, while you were interviewing Jay Fuller of the WPLC Sleaze. WPLC.
Sleaze, yeah.
That was a Freudian slip. That was a pretty good one, right?
Yeah, it was.
WPLC / Freshit. That's what I was trying to say, was a mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Fuller. Remember Jay Fuller? Jessica Fuller of the WPLC? Remember I did that show on all those people? And then I showed you that they lied. I showed you that he did a video with the WPLC Freshit representative lying about me, about our reporting, and about the Kathleen Bennett case before it went to trial. And of course, the charges were dismissed completely. She was completely exonerated. Probably one of the only cases, definitely the only case out of all of the cases that were facing a lot of time that came out of Standing Rock, that was completely exonerated, and all the charges were dropped, and they had no plea deal. Because everyone else, almost 90+% of those cases, all took some kind of plea deal. And I don't know if that was the intended case for the WPLC initially. I thought they were supposed to take them all to trial.
Yeah.
Overwhelm the system.
Yes.
Demand justice.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that plan fell through.
Yeah.
But if you guys will recall, Myron also made another video around the same time that Ed did, saying that the WPLC was going to sue me, our station, on behalf of people who felt defamed.
Yeah.
And that they were looking into that.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed you evidence of the fact that several people said that they had had these discussions with the WPLC. And I also showed you an interview, shared with you an interview from former attorney for Brennan Nastasio, the guy that the hero that disarmed Kyle Thompson
Mm-hmm.
at Standing Rock. The former attorney, Jeff Haas, who was also a board member on the WPLC and, you know, the organization that denied Kathleen Bennett help for a very long time until they finally paid her bail right as we were about to bail her out because they wanted to get involved. They wanted to sabotage her case at any cost, any way necessary. But we didn't let that happen, and she was completely exonerated. This man is now running around telling people he was working on missing and murdered Indigenous women issues.
Yeah.
Really? How is that? By making them go missing?
Mm-hmm.
By hiding the fact that they were missing? By muddying the waters? I don't think that you are in a place where you should be speaking on behalf of women at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know about Patrick Kincaid. Will you show who Patrick Kincaid is? Because there's
Sure.
a lot of concern about whether or not he's a real lawyer or not. One of the people that told me they investigated his background and did not find reliable information that he really was an attorney or that this guy was on the quote-unquote up and up was Revolution Truth person Rebecca Blackwell.
Oh.
She was the first one that told me she did an investigation on him and that the buildings where he was supposedly renting for his law practice were not being rented by him or for his law practice, as he had said. And, she didn't show me any evidence of this. This was just what she told me about him to alert me that this guy was somehow not necessarily trustworthy.
Yeah.
What does it say there about this guy? It says he is 49 years old, born on June 20, 1969, currently lives in Tempe, Arizona, previously lived in Durango, Colorado, Lawrence, Kansas, sometimes goes by various nicknames, including William P. Kincaid and William P. Kincaid, spelled with 2 C's instead of just one. Works as a student at Arizona State University, and he also attended Holton High School. So, what I knew about Kincaid also included the reports from Maggie Day, who frequently told me that he was problematic and that she had been going back and forth fighting with him in emails about the representation of Myron Dewey and Prolific the Rapper. So Maggie Day, the person doing PR work along with Seven, was also involved in the legal cases of Myron Dewey and Prolific the Rapper. Here's an email between Maggie and William P. Kincaid. There's his initials down at the bottom. He says to Maggie, will you please read this?
Sure. Maggie, please provide evidence of your accusations. I would be very interested in seeing those emails, contacts, and recordings I did record our conversations for my files. Glad I did, because the conversation you claim never happened. I have no documentation of agreeing to pay 1 penny for the services you offered. I was approached persistently by you and your team I was approached persistently by you and your team to provide drone attorney and was told by you that a Hollywood contact was going to pay for 6 hours per month to work on Myron's case in perpetuity.
So, this says that Maggie offered that one of her Hollywood contacts was going to be paying 6 hours a month for legal work for Myron's case until it was completed.
That's right. Furthermore,
Okay.
Yes, I see that. Furthermore, it's absolutely false that Jonathan could not contact me because I'm a contracted consultant with Myron's attorney. With any client's privilege, Jonathan knows this. Furthermore, when I asked Sean Turgan about your email.
Sean Turgeon, a.k.a. Prolific the
Okay.
Rapper.
Okay.
Sean Aaron Turgeon.
When asked
Furthermore, when I asked Sean Turgeon
about your email claiming Sean did
not
not want contact with me, he said they never had the conversation and apologized for your lies.
So far, William Patrick Kincaid has denied that he was responsible for paying the attorney's fees because Maggie said a Hollywood contact of hers was going to do it, or that he would agree to contact Jonathan because he's contracted with Myron's attorney under Jonathan, and Jonathan already knows that. And 3, that Sean didn't want any contact with Patrick, which Sean also apologized for.
Okay.
So Maggie is manipulating all of these people, Myron, Sean, and trying to manipulate William P. Kincaid.
Exactly.
And of course, she's doing this work on behalf of Seven and PR work for Wes Clark Jr.'s Standing Rock Veterans Operation.
Yep.
Sean Turgeon's attorney even asked you to contact me and stated he had no problem with Jonathan contacting me. And at that point, I never heard back from you. I didn't even know if you did contact or not because you never responded to my several texts. Now you're stating facts that never existed in an attempt to have me cover the bill that clearly your Hollywood actor friend reneged on with you. So, whoever this Hollywood actor, actress may be, they have reneged on payment for Myron's attorney's fees, and now Maggie is trying to pretend that it was always his agreement to pay them.
Yeah.
Plus, and this was what she was really freaking out when she was talking to me. She kept freaking out about the fact that he said he'd recorded her.
Okay.
And that she hadn't given him permission.
Mm.
And I'm like, you silly. People don't have an expectation of privacy in certain situations.
Yeah, definitely.
For example, if you're talking to a radio show host,
Mm-hmm.
no expectation of privacy.
Mm-hmm.
You came to the press, mamacita.
Mm-hmm. I like
So,
at the end, I like what he said. He says, sorry, I cannot help you, Maggie. Please be on your way.
yes. And do not darken my doorway ever
That's
again.
right. Mm-hmm.
I have the same feels, Patrick. Now, let me see what else happens on that email. Go down a little bit further.
All right.
Just want to show you. You scroll down there. This is what she had originally said to him, okay? Patrick, why are you trying to pick a fight with me over email? We've had many conversations, 3 just today. You're irrational and unprofessional. Please dust off your hurt feelings. No one said you weren't practicing without a license. Jonathan simply couldn't contact you with your org legally. And as you know, you are subject to subpoena and grand jury. That includes all the files you're holding onto. You're the only person I spoke with regarding payment, and I did so many times via phone, Signal, and numerous novel-length emails. We stepped into a fragile and then into facilitate and then offer to pay once you said you needed another month to raise funds to help your brothers, Myron and Sean. Our offer has been generous. You've been ugly, stressful, and dishonest. Completely astounded by someone who is hurt by the fact that he couldn't jeopardize his brother's cases and essentially break laws, force someone else's hand in doing so. Never was I aware or alerted to your funding being conditional in the above terms. That would have been quite scary. I would have alerted all involved that you were helping your brothers conditionally, only if you were privy to information that could, as we have seen, and has been completely compelled via grand jury. excuse me. I'm going to go back to resting after a seizure that put me in the hospital. Oh my God. Do not respond to me again. Mike, Myron and Sean, I don't have time for a fourth email from him. These are in the terms to which we have agreed. These are the terms to which we have agreed many times. Per my last reply, perhaps you can put your money together and pay Jonathan's final bill should you choose to close out, as he's been instrumental in your defense. I'd assume you would be aware of all of your legal dealings, but even more so with someone as close as Patrick handling them. If that's not the case, I am very sorry that Patrick was not transparent and is shaming you in front of valuable allies and experts. This is just embarrassing. This is not a reflection of either of you. You can let me know what you'd like me to do, preferably with Pat, not on a CC. Thank you kindly. So there they are going back and forth.
Yeah.
She is heavily involved in all of this. Don't you see that?
Yeah.
She's like dealing with their cases, and this biatch was pretending she didn't know none of these people when I was talking to her. I mean, she was like, I don't know what Myron is. I mean, he's something important, but I just don't know what. Like, he's a hacker, I think, but like,
Oh, yeah.
she knew all these people. She was communicating with them all the time. And she's a liar. She's lying, a liar, because they knew that if they told me who they were connected to, I'd be like, how is that possible? And the more and more connections I made, I'd be like, how are you not guilty? So let me show you. Here is a YouTube. Is that the, no. Yeah, let's show me that next one.
Yep.
Whatever's next.
Yep.
This is Victoria Longquist. If you watched my last show, I told you about Victory Longquist, who is connected to the coordination of the Veterans Stand for Standing Rock. She was the one that had that post on my last show, Hollywood, where, you know, because one of the people that Wes mentioned in that recording where he said, I don't trust these people anymore. These were the people that I met out there, and they all had these weird connections to me. And it turns out they still do, some of them, many of them. But he was mentioning Victoria Longquist, and he said he didn't trust her anymore either. So I looked at her, and I showed you some of her stuff on the last show.
Yes, that's right.
Hollywood. Because I showed you she's connected to Remy. She was thanking Remy, the people that she was with, a.k.a. Jeremy Frendenberg, who was dating Desiree Kane, and also another guy named Travis Biolette, who was one of the people that founded the Veterans Respond, that was out there with the Veterans Stand for Standing Rock, Christina Hollenback, and of course Wesley Clark Jr. She was connected to all these people. Would you please read what she says here?
Yes. My dear family, I am seeing so many posts of fighting, attacking one another, bad-mouthing people, negative posts on government, and the state of the world, Standing Rock, people getting suicidal, lonely, hurt. I understand. I grieve too. I am angry. Striking out at each other is not the best way. It's our signal that we must look within. Winter is time to retreat and grieve. We're preparing for spring, and with this we must clear out the old. We're doing it as collective as well as individually. Feel the feelings. Sink in and listen, for your inner guide speaks through your heart.
I'm sorry. I had to
That's
vomit.
right.
I can't do anymore. Just scroll up a little bit more. I can't listen to this.
Yes.
White people unity, don't hold anybody accountable BS.
Oh.
Okay, that's the part I wanted you to get to. If you can scroll up a little bit more.
Oh, this bottom part?
Yeah. And, okay, I am seeing how we play a part. Personally, I see and honor. So here she is, you know, naming all the people that she sees and honors, and they are Myron Dewey, Shai Bidzil, Dean Dedman, the drone pilots, Bringing Vision and Information, Prolific the Rapper, a.k.a. Sean Aaron Turgeon, Faith effing Spotted Eagle, who gave the orders for L'Oreal Blackshaw to raid the camps and have people like Kathleen Bennett and her mom removed from the camps. John Bravebull, Bringing Heart, Chief Arvo Looking Horse, who was hanging out with Red Wolf Pope and who was Red Wolf Pope's medicine man.
That's right.
Who's also gave the order to L'Oreal Blackshaw, who also gave the orders along with the headsman to make all of these horrible decisions that horribly impacted Kathleen Bennett and her mom. None of which they corrected, none of which they apologized for. None of which to this day they have ever taken responsibility for taking part in. And now they want to work on missing and murdered indigenous women's causes. How in the hell do you expect us to trust you?
Yep, exactly.
There's more. Lee Plenty Wolf, Jean Tagaban, Pau Case, and our elders bringing wisdom of spirit, carrying the bundles, Pat Kincaid, and Red Wolf Pope.
Wow.
There they are, one right next to the other. Pat Kincaid and Red Wolf Pope. And in addition to those people are Ian Anan, Patricia Allen, Sherry Hendren, Sechi Chad Yen, Chad Charlie, John Achuasa Garcia, Matt Remmel.
Oh.
Well, that's one of the Last Real Indian partners with Chase Iron Eyes, Chase Lion Eyes, and Deborah Parker. Wow. Deborah Parker is probably estranged from her husband, Myron Dewey, but that is nonetheless his wife. Remember those allegations of the women that he was having sexual relationships with and hiding from his wife?
Yep.
And exploiting at his time at Standing Rock and beyond? Yeah. So, that's a long list.
It is.
Okay. Next.
Whole paragraph.
It is. Remember, all of those people were connected to this woman, Victory Longquest. And those were some of the same people that Mike Wes Clark Jr. mentioned to me. Now this is the text I showed you the other day between Michael A. Wood Jr. and Wes, and he sent them to me, and it says right there on Sunday, December 11th. Okay, if you scroll up to the very top where Michael is talking to him, he says, look forward to working on projects from different angles, maybe even better. He says, Wes Clark says to Michael, 7 is whipping up a press release on the money. Remember, she's hired by him to do the PR. He told everyone he doesn't have anything to do with the money. There was a debacle because of the money and how it was not given to the vets. And this is not. He left the camp December 7th. He was out of there December 7th. The blizzard hit us December 6th. This is not on December 6th when he left. This is not on December 7th when he left. He didn't tell 7 before he left who was there with him, who he told me was with him a lot, all the time, there, all the time, he said. He didn't tell her then, hey, I'm leaving. I don't have nothing to do with the money. Michael kicked me out of the organization. You might want to put that in a press release somewhere and tell Mike about it. I'm out. No, he is messaging him here on Saturday, December 10th, and then again on the 11th, and it's 4 days later after he left, where he is still involved, and he is telling him, got you, don't worry. My girl 7 is whipping it up. Whip it. Whip it good. Da-na-na-na-na. A press release. Da-na-na-na-na. All about the money. Da-da-na-na-na. Whip it.
Whip it good.
Whip it good. And there, it's done. But here he is telling Michael A. Wood Jr. how it's gonna be. Wes telling Mike not the other way around. Folks, what about the money? I know. 7. Whip it good.
Yep.
That's what he said. Okay? I'm just pointing out what's on paper.
Exactly.
In their own words, draw your own conclusions. So, next we have, who else were they hanging out with? Well, of course, Gwendolyn Cates.
Yep.
Gwendolyn Cates on March 11th. This would have been when that video we started this whole show with, Myron Dewey Productions.
That's right.
Out in Washington, D.C., where Taboo from the Black Eyed Peas was featured dancing and singing along with Prolific the Rapper. And there was many parades and festivities to be had. There's Wes. He's there with them. And then, where else were they? Oh, well, Gwendolyn Cates gets around, don't she?
Yeah.
She's in a picture with Wes and Phyllis Young, Wash Day Wee Young's mom, who we just showed you was traveling around with Red Wolf Pope as part of the case that Kathleen Bennett's son was the first plaintiff in.
Exactly.
Red Wolf Pope, the fake Indian fake lawyer that we told you about. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, go watch the last show we did on this, which was called A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, and you can find out all about that. And Wash Day Wee Young's daughter, there she is, prominently featured in the lawsuit that later on, Kathleen Bennett's son wasn't even mentioned as part of. And look who comments. Look who comments in the picture. Who's commenting in the picture?
Desiree Kane.
Fake Miwok Indian white lady with brown face. Desiree Kane. Desiree Kane. She says, this pic makes me so happy. I miss you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I bet she does. Remember I told you how they were connected to Winnie Wong? Remember how I told you Desiree Kane was connected to 7? Stay tuned, folks. Don't get lost on me. Okay? Stay with me.
Yeah.
Connect the dots. Gwen is at the concert. She's taking pictures. There they are. There's Taboo in the hat with the feather. You see him?
Yeah.
They got busy on the stage. There's a bunch of people with bandanas on and drums, and they're singing. That's Keezy MC, Marcus Frejo. And he was one of the very first ones. And then, of course, the guy in the headdress there is Rapist Red Wolf Pope. Has a ring to it, don't it?
It does.
So next we got rapist, fake Indians, fake Miwok, transracial Indians. We got it all up in here. And Desiree and Gwendolyn, all these white ladies, they just love that.
Yeah.
Can I stand next to you? Oh my God, you smell like buffaloes. Oh my God. And next, I don't know who this random woman is, but she's telling some guy named Philip, look, I met your cousin / niece.
Yeah.
So she must be, speaking to a Native American person she knows whose niece this is that she ran into at this event. She seems to know a lot of people. Here she is at the march.
At the march.
And they're right in front of the White House.
Exactly.
And this would have been in 2017 in March.
In March, yeah.
Yes.
Like you said, it was the same time that video was being done.
And what does that say, Duke?
Kill the black snake. And then we got another March picture here. Hey, Cheeto respect treaties. Yeah. Yeah, right.
These are all
same
dated.
date. Same date.
No, the other ones were March 11. This is March 10.
Okay, March 10th. March 11th.
We're kind of going backwards in time.
Oh, I see. Wow.
And then that party was the 11th and the 12th. I think. So this is the 10th. They're marching. They have Standing Rock Sioux t-shirt. The flag of the Standing Rock Sioux. And they're holding up their fists.
Yep.
And here we got another one. I think that's Mark Tilson, but I could be wrong. Anyway, moving on. They're right there in front of the White House.
Yep.
waiting for the Cheeto to respond. Of course, he's not going to respond. He's invested in that pipeline.
Yeah.
And here she is standing next to another Native American person. She's so proud.
Yep.
Big smile. And Gwendolyn Cates is standing out in front of, is that Trump Tower? I think they did a thing right in front of Trump Towers. That was a big thing.
I think so too.
And next we have her at Standing Rock.
Oh,
so
here's
she
the proof.
was out at Standing Rock in February of 2017. And if you remember, she got some pretty cool pictures. So she must have had some kind of access to get these kind of pictures. Because let me show you what she got.
All right.
She's right there in front
Wow.
of the march, right? There's Chumash, there's Kingfisher, or not Chumash, what's his name? It is Chumash, but what's his real name?
Dennis Romero.
Dennis Romero. And there's Jacelyn Charger, and there's Dan and Nimkin, and there's Ray Kingfisher, and yeah, those are the ones that I can see right up front. I know the names of all them phonies.
Yep. Another angle.
Another angle there. So yeah, she was filming this march, and then here we got this. It looks there's smoke in the background, so this looks like this is in the closures, closing day of the camp or closing moments of the camp, and there's Holy Elk Lafferty, who was hanging out with Mulaney Stoneman right there until the bitter end.
That's right.
And if you move over to the date on that picture, you'll see February 22nd. So literally on the last day. Right?
Yep, exactly.
Isn't that that last man standing on the roof guy over there in that underneath that flag? It looks like him.
Yeah, it does.
What's his name? Dargan.
Yeah.
Jameson Dargison.
Jameson, that's his name.
Dargan.
Yep.
Whatever. And then here is another picture that she took out there. Look, she went more than once.
Yeah.
This one was taken in November when she was
True.
out there at the same time as Maggie was. And it says she took a picture of all three chiefs together.
Oh,
How lucky
yes.
is she? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Lucky duck. What kind of a shot is that? All three chairmans at one time. I got to see. How many of those chairmen did you get to see at all?
One.
Up close.
Yeah, just one.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I went out there 5 times. She went out there twice that we know of, and she got some pretty good pictures and
That's
access.
right. Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, she is a documentary filmmaker.
Oh,
What you got
yeah.
for me next? Whoa, well, she was involved with the Indigenous Youth Ceremonial Mentoring Society,
Yeah.
and she took a trip with them to Rome
Yeah.
on May 11th. Man, she pretty special, ain't she? Look at her. Wonder whose important kids those kids are.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because, you know, it's probably the same ones that got all the access and privilege. They got all the money. We're rubbing elbows with all of these Glitterati out there at Standing Rock, because them's the only ones I've seen got anything out of this whole thing. People connected to the money grubbers, the apples that were sticking their hand out and going, me, ma. It's all mine. And next we have more pictures of her and the youth out at Rome. She's so happy.
Yeah.
Standing in front of a Roman statue. Here's the group that kids came from, the Indigenous Guadalupe program, STPAUL.
Huh.
St. Paul. So these were St. Paulian kids.
Wow. From
that
Minnesota.
got to go. Cuckoo. And then next we have Gwendolyn Cates also has some friends in high places.
I guess.
She's out there in Congress in Washington, D.C. with, who's the name of that lady?
I can't remember her name. Maybe she's over here.
Madonna Thunderhawk on
There it
February 14, 2017. So she went to Washington on February 14, 2017 and was in Bernie Sanders' office in Washington. And then by February 22nd, she hauled her cookies back out to Standing Rock to film the closing of the camps.
Wow.
Man, did she get around.
That's right. A lot of travel money there.
Right? And look who else she's friends with. Why, it's none other than filmmaker, documentarian Josh Fox.
Yes.
Wasn't he the one that inspired? That was the way that's how Wes met Seven.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Wes met Seven. Look how many degrees of separation there are between Wes and all these people that he just barely met one time. That one time, a long time ago.
That's right.
But
wow.
He could have also met Josh through Gwendolyn Cates, or one of the many other people that are also friends with all these people. All these people are all friends with each other.
Yep.
They're all friends to each other. So much friends to each other. Like, how did we miss this?
True.
How'd y'all miss it? I don't know. It took me a while.
Yeah, we were.
They were trying to cover it up the whole time. It's kind of
true.
Terrifying.
And it was like
we
we
get
were
away with this. Well, it's pretty crappy.
Yeah, I'm not used to checking every single person out that we're working with. You can't trust anybody, but I feel that way now. Just like looking back at all this stuff was right in front of our face, and we never noticed because we were taken off course.
We were lied to.
Yeah.
And they did spend a lot of their time and effort trying to derail our work.
Yep.
I want you to take a look at this for all posterity. This comes from an article that was posted in EcoWatch, I think it's called.
Yep.
What's interesting is it's a sign-on letter. What's interesting are who and what signed on and how they're all connected to the Standing Rock story. Okay? Go to the very top of this so people can see that this was written by Josh Fox himself. That's him. And it was dated October 13. October 13, folks, in 2016. Okay?
Yeah.
Remember when some of these people said they even met each other? This was when he wrote about how many of you read his post on EcoWatch and knew that Dia Schlossberg, the producer in his How to Let Go of the World and Love All the Things That Climate Can't Change, was arrested on Tuesday in North Dakota for filming a protest against a pipeline bringing Canadian tar sand oils into the U.S. Remember, that's what Wes was interviewing him and Dia about?
That's right.
On the show that we just showed you recently.
Yep.
Here he is writing about it. I can't imagine that the interview that Wes did and this posting would have been that far apart. I'd have to go back and look at that video to check and see what exactly the date of that was. But now I'm intrigued and I do want to do that. I don't want to keep reading this. I want you to go to the list now.
All right.
So I just wanted to show you that this would have been around the same time that Wes initially says he met Seven. But let's look at all of the people that are on here and how many of them are connected to Wes and Seven and others.
Yeah.
I would like to have you read that.
Josh Fox.
Oscar-nominated director,
Documentarian and filmmaker. Daryl Hannah, actress, activist. Neil Young, musician.
He did what for Standing Rock? If you
he
know
wrote a
some
song.
way that they're connected to Standing Rock, make sure and yell it out.
He performed there and he wrote this song. A song about Standing Rock. And Frances Fisher, activist, treasurer, EMA actress. She's out at Standing Rock. She's connected to a lot of these people. Lee Camp, host, Redacted Tonight. Of course, Lee Camp has been connected to all these people. They've been on the show. They've been working together. He works for Russian television. Christopher Ryan, writer. I don't know who he is. Bill McKibben, writer, co-founder of 350.org. Of course, 350.org. One of the proponents behind a lot of this stuff. The big nonprofits that are part of squelching the whole movement, basically. Mark Ruffalo, actor, director, activist. Of course, he is out. at Standing Rock?
This is a October 13. This is before the treaty camp arrests happened with the dog cages.
Yeah.
This is before November 20th with the water cannons. This is before February 22nd when they closed the camps. This is before any of that happened.
Mm-hmm.
This is October 13th.
Yeah.
Before mass arrests are even taking place for the first time. This is before anybody got sent to Fargo and we started that.
Yeah, we were going out. We were out there in October. We were at the camp doing media work.
There are so many people that were involved in the Standing Rock stuff later on that are on this list, and previously heretofore were already on this letter.
Yep.
Against the Daesh Schlossberg arrest.
Wow.
Okay.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who actually was at Standing Rock and has put money into some people's pockets out there. David Braun, director, writer, producer. I don't know about him. Some I may not recognize. Alex Herbert, a.k.a. Edward Sharpie in the Magnetic Zeros, Golden Globe winner. Stephen Tabacchio, Peabody Award-winning producer. Chole Maximum, founder, first here, then everywhere.
Don't you want to go and look up every single one of these things?
I know. Alex Krauss, musician.
Yeah.
Joe
Bowermaster,
author, filmmaker, journalist. Alex Zatchik, author, journalist. Francesca Florentini, journalist. Paul Basis, producer. Tim D. Christopher, founder of Climate Disobedience, the Action Center for Education and Community Development Incorporated. Nathan Truesdell, documentary filmmaker. Bethany Yarrow, singer-activist. Chris Payne, director, Who Killed the Electric Car. Vallejo Gatnier, creator, arts exclusive. Jane Cleve, we've heard her name lots. Our Revolution board member, Nebraska Democrat, party chair-elect.
Remind people how she's connected.
Oh, Jane Cleve, we've held her in a bunch of our shows, and she's behind a lot of the stuff in Nebraska, and then she's connected to, Shai Bitzel, and she's connected to different people that were doing all sorts of Nazi stuff and really involving the politics. And you got to really follow the politics with a lot of this stuff. Tanya Riviera Warren, journalist. Maggie Sorvell, professor of voice and speech. Seven McDonald, award-winning columnist. LA Weekly, Harper's Bazaar, Nylon. Seven McDonald, we've been talking about her a lot in his past couple shows. She signed this letter way back then. Remember, she was a publicist for Wes Clark Jr. back then, and can be called up anytime. Has an ongoing relationship with him. She says on her whatever was her LinkedIn thing.
How long were they planning this? I wonder.
I know. It was way before Seven McDonald was there. Henry
I know.
Lay, director of product design, Echo 360. Councilman Robert Eklund, town of New Lisbon, New York. Julia Passetti, president of JMP Verdant Communications. Deborah Parker, Tuyup tribal citizen, board member, Our Revolution. Greg King, editor, filmmaker. Alex Tyson, filmmaker. Allison Clayman, Sundance winning Emmy nominated documentarian and filmmaker. And Stephanie Spear, founder of CEO Echo Watch. So they're getting all these people signed up to support this journalist who was arrested. And then she was arrested at that when they basically turned off a pipeline north of here. And I remember hearing about that, but I didn't realize that it was a big political push to, put attention to this that early in on Standing Rock.
It makes me have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot of people in there should bring up more questions.
It does. It will. It has. Okay, so next, what do we got next?
It's that little video of Fox Samira Khan video.
Oh yeah. By the way, this is Samira Khan at. Can you show the Samira Khan still, please, first, so that people can see that when there it was. I saw it.
It's at the top.
Right there, right not under that. See?
Okay, got it.
It says right there. Well, I can't see it. It's too small now. But there's Samira Khan. This is a still of the video I'm about to show you, and it says, "Dinner at Standing Rock with the crew." So who is Samira Khan with? If you don't know who Samira Khan is, she's a Russian television person. She works with Russian television. Russians.
Yes.
Who were very heavily involved. Remember, Christina Hollenback showed up on Russian television news the day after the cannon watering things happened?
Yeah.
And who is Samira Khan hanging out with? Why, Jordan Sheridan and Francis Fisher and Josh Fox. That's who she is having dinner with. Okay? So these people were all working together. That's just how it is. Yeah. I know it's very difficult for you to believe that people from Hollywood would bring in a bunch of B-list actors to get famous instead of, and also to bring a bunch of documentary filmmakers to exploit the opportunity to make a low-budget documentary off of the pain and suffering of real indigenous issues and real indigenous people. Without the knowledge and or permission of those of us who live here or who went there to record what was happening or to visit a prayerful, peaceful camp to stand with the indigenous people of Standing Rock. And it's hard for you to believe that it would have been primarily peopled with a bunch of phony actors and people that were set up to become heroes of the movement and some kind of celebrity or some kind of journalist or some kind of whatever the hell they went on to try to become without any skills or background in. And politicians, they got all of these new leases on life. Ex-Nazis can now run for office in Michigan.
They made their start in Standing Rock.
Right, because they got a clean slate at Standing Rock, right?
Yeah.
And we're not supposed to look into their background. We're not supposed to ask questions. I'm sorry. I want receipts.
Exactly.
And I'm going to keep on looking for them. If that makes people uncomfortable, too bad. Yes, it seems almost too incredible to believe that they would have hired hundreds and hundreds of people to do all of this stuff, but they're all connected to each other, and I sure as hell didn't know any of these people, and they are mostly white-led. These are mostly white people and or non-indigenous people. What in the F are they doing leading an indigenous movement or speaking on its behalf? Excuse me?
Yeah.
They're not even from here. The hell? I don't like it. So let's go on to the next thing. I want the video. Yep, video. Here's the video. It's short.
And the live stream begins. This will be a very boring live stream because we're just sitting and eating dinner, and nobody else knows that I'm live streaming. So, Josh, on live stream, say hi. Love Josh. Love you, Josh. Oh, look. Josh flavored wine is...
Josh flavored.
Josh flavored wine.
It's actually in my veins.
Yes, it's actually in his veins.
Extracted, it's very expensive.
Okay. Jordan. All right, so I have to go now. because people are calling me, oh my God, I had 10 whole viewers.
Wow.
Okay. So then next we have Gwen and her background in film, documentary filmmaking. A lot of these folks have a background in that. There was a lot of documentary filmmakers out there, and a lot of people there, you know, they just converged at the right time, at the right space, and apparently, like her, got really choice connections to people to put, presumably, in a film of some sort. And, you know, here's what I found really interesting when I talked to Wes. And by the way, this was back in May? What was the date?
Yep.
May 7th.
7th, yes.
This call took place in May 7th. Okay, May 7th. And she told, and Wes told me this story, which he repeated. He says that he had told me the story last year in the summertime, and I believe he had, I'm going to go back and try and find the first time he told me the story about Gwendolyn Cates and how Christina Hollenback had stayed with her.
Yeah.
In New York. Christina
Wow.
Hollenback. See, all the Glitterati are coming together.
Mm-hmm.
All of the people from the creme de la creme. So Gwendolyn stays in New York at this lady's house.
Yeah.
Gwendolyn Cates' house. And this is what Wes told me about that. Do you have a little picture?
Yep, I have pictures.
Cool. There you go. White women that, you know, want to fuck their way into the Native American culture, and then, you know, even like Christina Hollenback and and Desiree Kane, and then they start, like Desiree Kane, start masquerading like, I'm an Indian. Just realized it yesterday. Guess what? Indian now. And it's really fucking weird because they're like fucking their way into people's cultures.
Yeah. It's weird as fuck.
And
there's ulterior motives. That's the other thing.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. I mean, I've been watching what Desiree Kane has been getting into. And they're trying to co-opt all of these Native American issues the way that they did with Standing Rock.
Is Christina Hollenback helping her?
Christina Hollenback's been working in the background this whole time, yeah.
Because I only saw them together once or twice at camp, and they didn't seem like they knew each other.
Desiree and Christina?
Yeah, but that was only like, I was only there a week.
Well, you know, if there were operatives sent in to work on a specific group of people, they might have been assigned to different groups. Who knows?
That's true.
Because Christina was always, you know, she's always been hovering around specific Native American people like Menape and Grizzly and, you know, Bill Running Fisher, L'Oreal, Vaughn Bolage. She was connected to those folks. Where Desiree Kane was probably like second tier, where she was like with the people like Rattler and Fassig and you know. And all of those people, I'm assuming Olive, Bias, and all that fucking group of people that was running with those folks. Sweetgrass. I covered all those motherfuckers a long time ago. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no. For me, what set me off was that she went to my friend Gwendolyn's house in New York. Then I was like, whoa.
What did you go to New York for?
Well, this was probably late April or early May 2016.
Yeah.
I told you this last summer. But, when I first got to Standing Rock, Christina told me, verbally, that she'd been involved in the Arab Spring. With the feeling that it was on the ground in Egypt.
Right. I remember you did tell me this, and you had told me that she had been in London as well?
No. Well, she told me that, but, I was like, oh, wow, this is like a real activist. But then in April or May last year, she showed up at my friend Gwendolyn Cates. And Gwendolyn's like a 50-year-old woman, filmmaker, documentary filmmaker, who does a lot of stuff with, the Seneca Indians, and she kind of knows tribes all over the country. But she showed up at her house and stayed at her house for a week saying, I have PTSD, I don't have anywhere to stay, I need to be around someone, I can't function, and she let her stay at her house for a week. And during that week, and Gwendolyn had done a documentary on the Yazidi in the Middle East, and she'd been all over the Middle East and had all these pictures and artwork and stuff. And she said in that week of time, that she never said anything that she'd ever been to Egypt or part of the Arab Spring or the Middle East, and just seeing how human beings function and communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So she either lied to me, which is entirely possible, to build up credibility, or she was being dishonest with Gwendolyn. But the weird thing is, Gwendolyn felt she was at my house for a week. I felt like I didn't know her any better than when she first arrived. And that when she left, she went to go stay at a hotel. So she obviously had money to stay at a hotel the whole time.
Yeah.
And plus she's part of this group nexus that's all about inherited wealth.
Yeah.
So why does someone like that need a place to stay in New York when they have the money? And the thing is, Gwendolyn took a lot of footage out there. She was working on possibly doing a documentary. So she had all kinds of video footage and all kinds of stuff. And I feel like What's-Her-Face went there to see what she actually had, if any of it was damaging.
Huh. Yeah, it sounds like a spy.
I mean, it felt like a spy thing. And then she said that she asked a lot of questions about the Seneca Indians, who she was close to. And she was like, well, why are you asking me about this? You're from upstate New York. Because that's where her Facebook says she's from too, Syracuse. But apparently the Seneca Indians are the only reservation in America that has real sovereignty. And she just thought it was weird the kinds of questions and how many questions she was asking about the Seneca and trying to get a hookup to the Seneca.
It's colonization over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, no, it's weird. we'll never see in the press what really happened or who any of these people ever were, because most of them are either too small of fish to get caught up by the federal government, or they're too deep in the system.
Well,
but I sure would like to know the truth.
You never know. You never do know. You don't. You just never know. Maybe they will get caught up. Maybe they will get in trouble. Maybe somebody is paying attention. Are you? Here is a West post in which I showed you on one of my last shows. Wes was talking about, it's underneath that one. It's right there at the top now. If you'll go to the middle of it, he was talking about Erdogan. This is the one that I talked about, Let's Talk Turkey. And I told you about how he's talking about Cenk Uygur here and how Cenk threatened him. You guys may recall that. And I explained to you his connections to Turks and this post, etc. If you keep going further down, you will notice he talks about TYT. There we go. And right there he says, then I began to wonder where the Young Turks gets its money from. Remember, he was with the Young Turks. He had a show on the Young Turks. Wes Clark Jr. did. He said, after he questioned how it is that Cenk Uygur, who speaks out about Erdogan openly, gets to go home and travel around in Turkey freely. And then he asks, wonder where the young Turks get their money. Out in the open, we know this. There's the $4 million loan convertible to equity that Buddy Roemer, former governor of Louisiana, put into TYT. There's that. Then, and here's the thing I want you to pay attention to. He says, they also receive support from members of Nexus. That's Christina Hollenback's organization.
Yeah.
She's with Nexus. Remember, I showed you that she went with Menape, the man that ordered Kathleen Bennett to be removed from the camp, ordered Bill Runningfisher to do the deed, said so himself on social media, took credit for having Mary removed to a hospital and Kathleen arrested. She and him and Christina Hollenback went to celebrate at the UN and got awards. That's one of the sponsors of TYT.
Wow.
He knows what Nexus is. He knows that Christine is connected to Nexus, and he also knows they're one of the people that supports the funding of TYT. He says so here. They, meaning TYT, also receive support from members of Nexus. Why didn't he just say Christina Hollenback?
Exactly.
An organization for inherited wealth with a worldwide membership set to inherit trillions of dollars in the next decade. Christina is a member, and so is that Mexican girl, the heiress to the 7-Eleven fortunes.
Yes.
What was her name?
Oh, God, you're asking me a name again. I can picture her.
I can picture her, too.
She's a Mexican. She had white parents, 7-Eleven.
Well, you know, I did a show on that. It's been many shows ago, but I did do a show on it. Anyway, wanted to point that out since we're going over the connections to money and wealth and the Glitterati. That have made all of this nonsense at Standing Rock possible and that are connected to Russians, as he says here, Russian diplomats and Turkish people connected to Erdogan doing favors for Putin.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, this next one I'm missing.
What's the next one?
West Tex Gwen.
West in New York is the next one.
Okay, good.
And there he is. The West text with Gwen was one I showed on my show with Red Wolf Pope. You can go back and look at it, and it said, I wanted to remind people of it. It was a text that was sent to Josh. I believe it was sent around the date that Red Wolf Pope was arrested.
Oh, okay.
Where he said, I'm with Gwendolyn Cates, and we found another Russian connection. And he was talking about that Hebby, I can't remember what it was, Horton Bebe.
Oh, yes.
William Horton Bebe.
Yep, Bebe.
Anyway, that's a different show. All of these people have something in common, even Winnie Wong, and that is New York. And recently, Wes was there. I don't know if he was still with Gwendolyn Cates, but I know he was still there as of this date. He posted this on Twitter. Witnessed scaffolding collapse in New York today. Luckily, no one was hurt. And then there was a news report about it. Here's that report.
Well, Dick and Alice, people have just been walking by in awe of this scene here behind us. Take a look. You can see that truck you were talking about carrying 3 cars somehow crashed into this scaffolding, tearing part of it down here on 42nd Street near 3rd Avenue. It also hit a yellow cab, which has since been removed from the scene. Witnesses say it all happened in what seemed like a split second. They heard a loud boom, then the 2 drivers screaming out in panic. The fire chief here tells us a person walking on the sidewalk was hurt, taken to Bellevue Hospital with minor injuries. Another person evaluated on scene but refused medical attention. And this all happened at around 5:15 this evening, and 42nd Street since then has been closed off between 2nd and 3rd Avenues, with the FDNY and NYPD investigating the crash.
I was actually in the bathroom and I came running out and I heard a crash, and then I looked out and I saw the roof falling down on the car.
I was sitting there having a cigarette and suddenly a big boom, and looked over and it just piece by piece started to fall apart. It was like, oh my God, because he thought his vehicle was damaged.
And the Department of Buildings is checking the structure of the scaffolding. Workers will also be here overnight cleaning up, with officials saying they are hoping to have this area back open by tomorrow morning. We're live in Midtown Manhattan tonight. Rena Roy, TV 1055.
All right, Rena, thanks very much.
There you have it. He was
hanging out in New York.
New York.
So teach you to go out, smoke a cigarette out in the street. Streets of New York, you end up on the news.
I guess. But we know for sure he was recently in New York, and that's not where he lives. He's from L.A., so he was out in New York doing something. Here again is that connection with Wes, but to a different person. Here you see him in a picture with Nora Maccoby. That's the woman sitting next to him on that couch. And if you'll look over, this was posted by a friend of theirs, but it was posted on September 22nd. This is even before that sign-on letter that we just looked at, okay?
All right.
This is predating that sign-on letter. And there in the comments is Seven McDonald.
There she
Seven
is.
McDonald.
Yep.
He interviewed, he told me he met Seven when he interviewed Josh Fox on his show that I just showed you, which I'm assuming happened around the time he put out that sign-on letter and made the call out for Daya Schlossberg, since she had just been arrested, which took place in October,
Mhm.
as I just showed you. He said that as a result of that is when he met Seven, who was managing Josh Fox. And yet, here she is in September 22nd saying, love. They're friends. And Nora Maccoby says, evolution in the comments. What are they talking about? Well, the guy that posted this picture of Nora Maccoby and Wes posted it with the words free radicals. Free radicals. That can be a thing on your face, or it can be radical people that are free, right?
Yeah.
I think he means the latter, don't you?
Yeah.
Sounds like they're sitting there planning something radical, perhaps. Who knows? Here's another picture. And this one is on Nora Maccoby's Instagram. Look at who Nora Maccoby is friends with.
Yep.
It's
Seven
Seven.
McDonald.
And she posts 6 and 7. Haha, what a funny joke. One of them is 6 because she's got a 6 on her shirt. See? There's a 6. And then she's standing next to 7 McDonald.
Yeah.
So it's 6 and 7. Get it? Isn't it funny?
Yep.
So, and when was that posted? Would you blow that up, please, for everyone to see?
Let's see.
Please. It says July 3rd, 2016. 2016.
Yep.
What was happening at camp on July 3rd, 2016?
Let's see.
2016. Because the camps opened in April.
May, July.
June, July, August. When did the dog attacks happen?
I think that was around then. It must have been.
It would have been early on.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in July, was it?
No, I think it was before July.
I think it would have been before July. But anyway, this is in the summertime, long before October, long before September, long before August. And yet, Nora Maccoby is friends with 7, and 7 is friends with Wes, and Wes is friends with 7. And he said that was his... you just heard him on the call.
Yeah.
He was really... What shook him was the fact that Christina Hollenback showed up at his friend. His friend is Nora Maccoby. That's his friend. And this woman just shows up at his friend's house and is like, I have PTSD. I need to stay at your house. But really, she acted like a spy the whole time she was there. And then he later tells us he knows more about this spy woman. She's connected to Nexus. And Nexus just happens to be funding TYT.
TYT, yes, exactly. Wow.
I wish you would have put all this stuff together at one time in one place for me and not giving it to me piecemeal over thousands of conversations so that I had to do it like this.
That's right. Go backwards, forward, backwards, forward.
Maybe that was intentional. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe you just let these little things slip. Pieces here, pieces there. But I have, like a jigsaw puzzle, put them
back
together.
Yes.
I am stitching them together all for you. No, you know what happened?
What?
Everything in the nothing happened in the summer because it was really nice up until September September was when the dog.
Okay.
Because everything after that happened.
That's right. Because
every month.
So
up until August, there was really nothing. Well, there was the arrest of Chase Iron Eyes and all those people. They're the first ones to get arrested. But then it was dog attacks. Then it was the treaty camp.
That's right.
Then it was a November other attack, and then there was a camp closure.
Yep. And the veterans. Yep.
Yep. Damn. What do I win?
Yep. We gotta put together a timeline.
We got it, right?
Pins in. Yes.
Okay. Next, what do we got?
Maccoby Palace.
Let me show you more about this woman. She's an artiste. Those pieces hanging on the wall in this palace here in the background are her pieces that are being displayed here because she does art. That's what she does. She is an artist.
Okay.
But that's not all she is.
No.
And here it says, my Renaissance time travelers back in the Palazzo Casanardi. I can't see these letters. They're so tiny. Palazzo Casanardi. You know where she's at? She's in an Italian castle. That's where they're displaying her art at. In an Italian castle.
Wow.
Is this not glitterati or what? Just look
definitely.
at the bling on that chandelier.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, girl. She lives good, right?
Yeah.
Thank you at International SJ for helping make it happen. Animus Mundi. It's Liquid Art Fair. Hashtag Venice. Liquid Art Fair.
Wow.
Hashtag Venice. Woo! Yep. Here's more about her. This is her dad. This is her papa. And his name is Daniel Ellsberg. She says, Daniel Ellsberg was my dad's mentor. Oh, no, sorry. That's her dad. And that's her dad's mentor, Daniel Ellsberg. Where they were both going
To Harvard.
to Harvard. Yes. He says, Daniel Ellsberg was my dad's mentor at Harvard, and the chain of the Pentagon Papers, the chain of the Pentagon Papers, ending the war, hidden in the fireplace, first memories as a child. Listening to his stories about nuclear war, apocalypse, and miracles needed to survive was a wake-up call. So that's what she grew up around.
Yeah. Stories of nuclear holocaust.
Hiding, yeah, Harvard fireplaces, palaces, hiding in fireplaces and listening to Pentagon Papers and miracles needed to survive the nuclear apocalypse.
Yeah.
Okay. Here is her dad again with her sister, Izette. And they're in front of a painting. It's more art.
Yep.
So here's another one. We'll go through these more quickly.
All right.
One of the Congress members, many Congress members she is friends with. If you go check out her Instagram, you will find that some of them like to come over to play chess at her house.
Oh, really?
I can't show you all this stuff. It's not enough time in the day.
Exactly.
I'm rolling quickly, but y'all got to go look for yourself. It's all out there for you to find. The Google is magical. She's friends with Congressman Grayson. She's friends with Juliette Lewis. And here she is with Juliette Lewis posing next to one of her pieces of art. Here is one of her friends, Andrew Sullivan, brilliant Andrew Sullivan, she says, who she's been reunited with. And they're both having lunch and listening to Carol Joint's fascinating interview with him. And next, another one of her friends, this, what's this guy's name?
Walking Dead?
No, that's the show he's on, honey.
Oh, okay.
Norman Cletus? No, I'm saying it wrong.
Oh.
I think of Cletus because he looks like a redneck to me.
Okay.
I think it's because of his, whole undead look or whatever he's going for. I don't know.
Walking
I
Dead
don't
look.
watch that show.
Yeah, I don't either.
I
I don't even know who he is. So.
I don't like zombie shows.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I know that he's on the zombie show. And oh, look. Who dat? Why, it is a friend of hers, Carrie, who's a curator for none other than, drumroll please, it's the Eastwood Foundation Art for Animals.
Wow.
Eastwood Foundation Art for Animals. And guess what? Who has come and gone to support out as a celebrity to raise money for the Eastwood Foundation for Art and Animals?
Francis Fisher.
That's right, honey. You get a
I
prize. Honey, you're so smart. It is Francis Fisher because Francis Fisher is Clint Eastwood's baby mama.
Exactly.
Right? She's one of the baby mamas. If you didn't know, now you know. See how I closed this whole circle of life? It's the circle of life. And do you know who Clint Eastwood is connected to? Folks, do you know? Anybody? Anybody got an answer? Raise your hand if you do.
Trump. NRA.
Yes, honey. Oh my
girl.
God, you're 3 for 0 tonight. Holy cow! What? You can have anything you want now.
All right.
You win all the prizes, honey.
Like a cheeseburger with fries, please.
And do you know who the NRA... This is for the final Jeopardy question. Who is the NRA connected to?
That woman who's a Russian spy. I forgot her name.
Maria Butina!
There we go. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. Children, there are so many connections here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a very interesting, but going on, here she has, signature of gold, Trump. She's got what is that thing? Is it like it looks like the thing that they put on this, I don't know what the hell it is. Somebody out there that can see this thing. It looks like a placeholder, like where you put the person's name, but it says Donald Trump's name on it. So that wouldn't be, or unless she got his placeholder, because it's his signature is in gold on it.
She stole it off the table.
If she took it off a table from a dinner or something. But doesn't it look like those things they put in front of your seat so you can see where you're going to sit?
Mm-hmm.
It really does.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was, but she's got the one for the president, or at least she's taking the picture of it. Yeah. So I don't know.
Or it's an invitation or something.
Connected. Maybe it's an invitation from Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's an official thing from the president.
Yeah.
For sure. Either she took it or she got it from Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to show you, she's not just an artist. She's doing a bunch of activist work having to do with national security and energy. And that's an important thing for you to know. Because these Glitterati aren't just in Hollywood. And they're not just hanging out with the likes of Wesley Clark Jr. and going down, and hanging out with stars and writers. They're also doing international policy on environment and national security. Here she is working with the Chinese environmentalists.
Wow.
Next, she's in a picture here working on a transition to new clean energy with China and the U.S. And it looks like she is in China in front of the Minister Industry Equipment, International Fund for China's Environment.
Wow.
That's where she is. And their implementation of solar and wind and, compressed air car. And next we've got her with some more Chinese and U.S. working on clean energy and art. And they're at an art show, and that looks like her art.
Oh, my goodness. She took her art with her.
Well, she does a lot of these different, I don't know, maybe she just meets up with all of these people at her art shows when they're traveling around the world. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe they mix the two things together, and maybe they throw in some, Francis Fishers or some other different kinds of important Hollywood people for fun. Here's some kind of friendship party between China and
the United States. Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of that. And here's another thing where she's posing with a picture that she got from the Chinese delegation to the D.C. office.
Oh.
To the D.C. office.
I see.
Okay, so she's up in D.C. What's going on there? Here she is with some math people from, physicists, mathematicians, and computer intelligence working on the DARPA that invented the internet.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Here we got the Abdelkader meeting with Morocco and France in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So, and look at what she tags on there. Can you read that? Who does she tag in this? Okay. At
at the real Sean Stone.
Sean Stone, you say?
Wow.
Do you suppose that's the same Sean Stone Wes is friends with that he gave the interview to, who invited him out to...
Must be. He's the real one, isn't he?
Well, he told me that it was Nora Maccoby and Sean Stone that invited him to go to Standing Rock.
That's right.
Both of them. I will play that for you, that clip for you again on my next show. I don't got time for it now, but you remember I played it for you?
Yeah, I do.
He said Sean Stone invited him out there. And he also said Nora Maccoby.
Yep.
What's this one?
It's Kurdish. It's, see if I can make this a little bit bigger.
The president of Kurdistan.
President of Kurdistan.
Yes. Read that last part.
Down here. The Kurds have...
Read the one before that and that last one.
When men and women are equal and environmental sustainability is valued, then we will have the democracy. President Barzani of Kurdistan. The Kurds have co-ed in all female brigades, fighting ISIL on the front lines. They're also offering sanctuary to millions of displaced refugees, caring for the children raped and tortured.
Okay, next, what we got? Oh. This is when she's posting some of her Glitterati past here.
Okay.
This has to do with some of her people. The twins began their conquest of Switzerland, so I'm assuming some twins in her family were in Switzerland, becoming the first women to summit the hard side of Eiger.
Okay.
Must be some mountain. So
yeah.
She's got some mountain climbing women in her family.
Okay, now which country are we going to deal with? Now we're looking at... Wait till I miss one.
Syria.
Syria.
And what does it say there? Syria and UNICEF briefing. So she was in a briefing on millions of refugees.
Wow.
Next, here she is with a Ukrainian cabinet member in the same room where George Washington signed the papers to create the District of Columbia.
Wow.
And she's working for peace to end the war on the Eastern Front. She says, come on, Putin. 10,000 dead in the last 2 years on the Ukrainian front.
All right.
This was in June of 2016 that she posted that.
Yeah.
Here she is involved in pipeline protests. This is from August 24th. This has to do with the NODAC, North Dakota pipeline.
Yes,
okay?
there we go.
Help me out.
Here's another one.
Read it and tell them what's on it.
This is another one. Just seconds. Explains the same time period. We got another one here. The protest. Let's see. What the date on that is. August 24th, 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a couple more on this. Oh, one more. Another no DAPL protest.
What does it say?
Let's see. Support Lakota now. Basic clean water rights. L'Oreal Collier says, so glad you're there. I wish I could be there too. And she says, Homeland Security is cutting off their water. See my Facebook post. So messed up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then?
And of course.
She's got stuff where she's at a powwow, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Doing her...
Here she takes pictures here with some Lakota Sioux elders, it appears, and their names are Milo Yellowhair. Peter Yarrow.
Peter
Then-
Yarrow.
She's with someone she claims is a Mohawk medic.
Oh, Medicine Man, yes.
Uh-huh.
And of course, some native drumming.
Was the same one.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think it's a picture of her son, Nora Maccoby's son, and he's playing on a little.
Drumming for the Lakota.
Yeah, I think he's drumming along with the Lakota.
Oh, no, she's over in Standing Rock.
And there she is with Phyllis.
Oh, that was a Congress First Nation leadership on advanced clean energy.
She's with Phyllis Young.
Yes.
She showed up a lot, hasn't she?
She's been all over the place. She has a big travel budget, that woman.
Yeah.
There
Lucky
we go.
her. Oh, and who else is she with? Who's that, honey?
Sean.
Yell them out if you know the names.
Is that Sean Stone?
Look at him.
Yeah. Wow.
That be him.
Mm-hmm.
That is him.
Wow.
Where are they?
At the Rayburn Building, USA.
You know where that is, don't you? You've been in the Rayburn Building in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill. You remember the Rayburn Building?
Yes, I remember it now. That was a long time ago. I just remember walking down those halls.
And what were they doing?
They were the first fusion nation, USA Cold Fusion First Nations. I don't know what that is.
What is that?
I don't know what that event was.
L-E-N-R. What is
L-E-N-R.
that? Lenner? What does Lenner stand for?
Don't know.
Lenner. I don't know what that means.
Nope, I don't either. But it's a picture of Sean Stone.
Cold fusion.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds a little bit hinky to me.
It does to me too.
Is this some tinfoil hat crap?
Must be.
Scientists continue to study unusual heat generating effects. Some hoping for vindication, others for an eventual payday. Yeah, I think I know what that is.
Yeah.
I think that's a pipe dream.
All right.
Maybe they've been smoking something.
Yeah. Well, there's that group that wants to go to Mars, you know.
Cold fusion. What are they doing?
Don't know, but there's other connections here.
What the hell? Oh, there's Sean Stone again.
Yeah.
Who's he hanging out with? Duke?
Let's see if I can make that bigger so I can see what's going on here.
Yeah. That's the same guy that was at that dinner in France or that for the French thing. I don't know who he is, but Nora Maccoby says Sufi Abdelkader Project lives. Peace is possible. So he was in that same post that had that hashtag in it too.
Okay.
The Sufi Abdelkader Project. I need to figure out what the hell that is.
Yeah, really.
And of course there she is, and then of course Sean Stone is there.
Yeah, then what happens after you meet Sean?
There's Oliver
Oliver Stone.
And what does it say over there? Oh my God, he could be your dad. And Nora Maccoby says, totally was my dad in past life.
Yeah, right.
She really likes...
Hobnobbing.
No, she really likes Oliver Stone. They're not just like acquaintances that met. You know, she's friends with his son very clearly, and she is friends with Wes, and Wes is friends with Sean, as we know.
Yep.
And I'm sure that they're friends with Oliver
Sean Stone's connected
there
to...
because he's connected to her. I mean, how could they not be? Look how closely they're connected. It's not just a one-off.
Then it goes to Roger Stone, and it goes to Cassandra Fairbanks. You know, it's just all these things are connected.
Go to the next one here. There is a picture of Oliver Stone with a woman he is either massaging on the shoulders in an uncomfortable and inappropriate way, or someone that he's emotionally connected to, like a girlfriend. Because otherwise that kind of fondling would be a little bit weird. But there he is with what appears to look like a paramour of his. And this is back in 2015. 2015.
Okay.
2015. That's a year before Standing Rock.
Yeah. Huh?
Maccoby's friends with Oliver Stone. Here's another picture with Oliver Stone.
Mm-hmm.
And they are going to where? Where are you and Oliver? At the Virginia Film Festival, she says.
I see.
And that's her son, the little boy you saw in that other picture that was drumming the drum.
Yes, that is
in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's native, but he was still... Anyway,
yeah.
That's for another day.
Yep.
Here she is with Oliver Stone again.
Mm-hmm.
And where are they now?
And Pentagon?
Yeah,
Wow.
Adventures at the Pentagon parking lot.
The parking lot of the Pentagon.
What they doing there, dude?
I don't know.
What does it say? You better read every bit of it. We got to find out. It's important.
Adventures
They're
at the Pentagon
doing
parking
national
lot.
security work for us.
That's right. You got to love your normal. You need to come visit. Wait, what? Explain, please. Read my comment on Facebook with this photo. Think Marshall Plan for the U.S. based on renewable energy, mini grids, hashtag training, veterans to deploy sustainable clean air, water, soil.
What? Training veterans to do what?
Deploy sustainable clean air,
Deploy?
water. Deploy
How are they supposed to deploy
sustainable clean air.
and water?
Yeah.
Deploy? Is it some kind of operation?
Yeah, it sounds like the climate manipulation to me.
Is it some kind of an operation that's going to take place?
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it.
To deploy, explain it to me again.
I don't
How
know.
are they going to deploy water and clean soil and
Clean air, especially deploying
It says-
clean air.
Marshall Plan for USA based on energy mini grids? And then it says that she's also posing there with the Secretary of the Army on the far right.
Far right.
Who's an Iraq veteran and renewable energy champion. And then what does it say below that?
Oh, it's cut off.
It's cut off, so we never get to read it. It's sad.
Unless it's in
Go
the next
find
one.
her Instagram and do the work.
Yep. Oh,
You can-
look,
you can
here's
read it.
another one. It has it all in there.
Oh, I put more in there because we put two.
Yep.
See, I care about you.
Yep.
Okay, what does it say now?
It says Secretary Oliver Stone is a veteran helping bridge generations.
Oh, he helps bridge young people and old people
Working together.
working together to deploy veterans to do what the hell are they talking about?
I don't know, having little smaller grids in the United States are sustainable, clean, fresh air, water, and soil. And they're going to deploy these grids. I don't know what that means.
I don't know, but it sounds some shady stuff. It's starting to bother me a little
Yeah.
bit. Is that something that they rolled out at Standing Rock or what?
Maybe.
Okay, next. Where's she at now, Duke? Where's Maccoby at now?
With the former CIA director.
What? What?
And held your own for the counter culture. Took on the former CIA director and held your own for the counterculture. Was she arguing with him or what? And someone
know.
says, my head's exploding. Yeah, it should.
With this former CIA director.
Yeah, exactly.
So she just goes to the Pentagon, hangs out in
Mhm.
castles,
Hangs out in the parking lot.
hangs out with Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
No big whoop. Whatevs. That's who we're dealing with here. This is the Glitterati of the world. People that are the puppet masters, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next,
Nora Todd.
I want to show you her husband, Todd Maccoby.
Okay.
You need to know a little bit about him because he's pretty important. Kids, I'm screaming through this as fast as I can. I have so much still to go through. But I wanted to tell you very briefly about Todd Maccoby. He is Major Todd Maccoby. As you can see, he is there in Army fatigues. He is a major that works on advanced threat groups for the defense department. Major Todd Maccoby worked for the department, was working with the Department of Energy.
Wow.
You think maybe that's one of the ways in which Nora was able to meet with people with energy with the Pentagon?
I think so.
Perhaps?
Some scary stuff.
Given the fact that her husband worked with the Department of Energy?
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to know how they met? How this lovely, in-love couple met? Do you want to know?
Yes.
The story, honey?
Yes, I do.
It's very romantic.
Oh, yeah.
This is true. Pay attention.
Okay.
They went to a release party for a movie. Guess who the director was?
Probably Sean Stone.
No. Close.
Oliver Stone.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, guess the name of the movie.
I don't know. I've only seen a couple of his movies.
I know. They kind of suck, don't they?
Yeah. I saw a JFK one. So
that's the only one I saw, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
It is called The Road to Mecca.
Oh, really?
Yes! Isn't that crazy?
That is.
And that's where they met. She met her husband at the road to Mecca.
Wow.
Okay. Anyway, that's just a little. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I showed you on my last show, titled Hollywood, that Wes hired Seven McDonald, who was working with Maggie Day doing PR work for the Veterans Stand for Standing Rock. But prior to that, as I've shown you, there was many connections with her and Seven and Winnie Wong and Nora Maccoby, right?
Yep.
I showed you that they knew each other and have known each other going way further back than that. And as you know, they also were working with Desiree Kane on that campaign. But they were working together on the Bernie Sanders stuff before that. I showed you a lot of that on my Hollywood show, where I showed you the work, the actors and the people that were working on the Bernie Sanders campaign. From Seven's harem of actors that she does PR work for. These are the same people that Maggie would mention to me over and over again. So one of those people that has overlapped into the world that I was telling you about with Winnie Wong, and that other woman that connected to the Standing Rock visit with Seven, is Linda Sarsour. And she's also been very prominent, starting with the Women's March. Marches that came around. She's the co-chair of the Women's March, and I'll show you who the other co-chair is in a minute. And here she is, and she was repeatedly on my show about Hollywood in many photos with Willie Wong. She's been working very closely with Winnie Wong, going all over the place with Winnie Wong, and more recently she's been in Michigan and campaigning directly as the de facto campaign manager for Abdul El-Sayed, who's running for governor. Did he win? We still don't know. I'm going to try and find out what happened after the show is over.
Go check the results.
Go check the results and find out who won what. Anyway, that's important to note because I seen him out there with Shailene Woodley. Winnie Wong was out there with this Linda Sarsour that's been involved in the women's marches that me and Samantha were calling out even when me and you went out to Detroit because they were getting people, bunch of people arrested for no reason. They were also doing some other shady things I need to tell you about in a minute. That both of those people campaigns were problematic in different ways, but Sarsour was also connected to the Women's March with her co-chair, Tamika. This is Tamika, and you can see they're at the Women's March. These are the two co-chairs
Mhm.
of that organization. This is important because they have been very instrumental in bringing out millions of women
Yeah.
to march against, resist against whatever the latest crappy thing is.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's been happening at these things, and the reason I know this is because one of the people connected to Jane Cleave, the woman that gave the money for the Kathleen Bennett case, none other than Carol Dix told me this, that they were using these women's marches to sign up women to vote.
Oh.
That was going to be one of those drives.
Okay.
So this is a very important thing for them.
Mhm.
Here is a post from Muslims for Ferguson. You might have recalled that out at Standing Rock, there was a Black Lives Matter contingent. There was also a contingent of people that were standing in solidarity with Standing Rock from Palestine. This is the first time that I had seen that. There must have been some kind of solidarity with Black Lives Matter from Palestine before that. Maybe there wasn't. I don't recall. Do you?
No, I don't remember any of that.
I
No.
don't remember
Yeah.
that. But I did see it. I saw there was a solidarity from Black Lives Matter with Standing Rock, at Standing Rock, and also I saw one from Palestine. And I always, who don't like unity and solidarity, right?
Mhm.
But I did have a problem when I heard people, especially indigenous leaders from the camp, starting to conflate the two things. Starting to conflate the stand at Standing Rock with what's happening in Palestine and or what's happening to black people, because they're not the same thing.
Mhm.
And I thought that good, logical, even-minded Palestinian people and black people would feel the same way about that. That they wouldn't want these things to be conflated unless they're almost identical. Unless all of the features of each of them are present, because that's not the case.
Mhm.
But as you saw in this post about Muslims for Ferguson, would you read that, honey?
Sure.
What does it say?
It says, must read. The Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions, BDS, I'll say that one more time. The Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions, BDS, movement, endorsed by the black and brown-led Dream Defenders, and the trip to Palestine to sign the growing time, and the trip to Palestine is a sign of the growing times between the racial justice movement and Palestinian rights activists. The groups are building a rich history on collaboration between Black, Latino, and Palestinian activists. Black Lives Matter, BDS, DD, Palestine. It has a group picture there, and it's the growing ties between Black Lives Matter and Palestine.
Mm-hmm. I found it to be very interesting, this BDS movement.
Yeah.
And then, of course, BDS movement is BDSM, and I just thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Why would you name it Boycott, Divest, Sanctions? I mean,
The
switch
boycott
it around.
Yeah, that's right. Move the letters around a little bit.
Move the letters around so it doesn't end up being BDSM.
Yep.
Because, duh, like, why did you want me to think of it that way? But now I do. It's in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So here is what BDS is, if you don't know. Could you read that, honey?
Not really, but I'll try. It's
Yes,
very
you
small.
can. Make it bigger. You can do it.
Yeah,
I
I'll
have
scroll.
faith in you.
I'll scroll sideways and forwards.
Very well.
Okay. The Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement also known as the BDSM, is a global campaign promoting various forms of boycotts against Israel until it meets what the campaign describes as Israel's obligations under international law, defined as a withdrawal from the occupied territories, removal of the separation barrier in the West Bank, full equity for Arab Palestinian citizens of Israel, and promotion of the right of return of Palestinian refugees. The campaign, organized and coordinated by the Palestinian BDS National Committee, was started out on July 9, 2005 by over 170 Palestinian non-governmental organizations in support of the Palestinian cause for the boycott of Israel, disinvestment from Israel, and international sanctions against Israel, citing a body of UN restrictions and especially echoing the anti-apartheid campaigns against white minority rule in apartheid-era South Africa. Protests and conferences in support of the campaign have been held in a number of countries around the world. There's considerable debate about the efficacy and morality of the BDS movement. Supporters of BDS compare the movement with the 20th century anti-apartheid movement and view their actions similar to the boycotts of South Africa during its apartheid era, comparing the situation to Israel to
South African apartheid.
Critics of BDS vehemently repudiate the charge that Israel is an apartheid state, asserting, among other things, that as Israel, outside the West Bank, Jews and Arabs mix freely, are increasingly live in the same neighborhoods. There's no imposed segregation, and that Arabs and Jews interact together in any mall, restaurant, hospital in Israel. Critics further argue that BDS movement disincentivizes Palestinian leadership from negotiating with Israel at present, and that it is anti-Semitic in the form in opposition to Zionism takes, and resembling historic boycotts such as the Nazi boycott of Jewish businesses, and in promoting delegitimization of Israel. 85% of
delegitimization of Israel, which means not having a Jewish state, which means removing all Israelis, which means they don't have a right to be there. Which means the Palestinians' position is that they have a right to take over the whole thing.
The whole land base.
Yeah.
85% of the Palestinian residents in the West Bank are interested in cooperation with Israel. But the PLO, Palestinian business and universities, cooperate with Israel daily. According to the head of the Federation of Trade Unions of Palestine, Shaher Said, in 2011, the number of Palestinians employed in Israel settlements increased significantly to around 31,000 due to the high rate of unemployment and poverty, and that about 70,000 worked in Israel proper. And Sari Nusselbe, president of Al-Quds University, opposed boycott of Israel universities in 2014. Other Palestinian academics also told the New York Times they oppose cutting ties to Israel universities. However, opinions of academics were split, with at least some of those who favor BDS noting they were unsure if BDS will have any effect.
Okay. I'm trying to explain to you what BDS is before I show you how it's connected to both Linda Sarsour and Standing Rock. Because if you don't even understand what BDS movement is and what it's connected, what it means or what they stand for, then none of the rest of this is going to make much sense.
Okay, all right, got it.
So, BDS, the Boycott, Divest, and Sanctions movement, on the face of it appears to be a boycotting of Israeli businesses and stuff, treating them as if they were apartheid Africa. the people that criticize BDS say that it is anti-Semitic, that it is basically dog whistling genocide. They're saying there's, Israelis, Jews have no right to a land base whatsoever. They should be completely removed. And I will show you some examples of where you see that. Hopefully, we will be able to have people hear us talk about it.
I know. It's looking like it's kind of stuck.
Well, I see the broadcast is interrupted on my side for a second here. So I'm going to wait and see what happens.
Yep, kind of hanging with it.
I think it looks like it might be coming back here. Hopefully, when you go back and listen to all of this later,
yeah, it looks like
will
we're
be smooth sailing.
Mm-hmm. Looks like we're stuck.
Are we still stuck? Oh, somebody's upset about this.
Yep. As soon as you brought up the BDS. As soon as
As soon as I brought up BDSM.
And we're connecting to the internet. It's
they're like,
a few
boom.
timeouts, but
We're connected to the internet, but the broadcast is still interrupted.
Mm-hmm. It's frozen.
Still frozen and timed out.
Now timing out again.
Weird. Holy Toledo, they don't want us to get to this.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are scared of me, aren't ya? You scared of what I'm about to say. Y'all afraid about what I'm about to say.
Smithers, take away their
you
internet.
You can't stop this. You can't stop us. We're still going to come at you. We're going to still bring this news.
We'll
stay here for as long as it takes. Y'all got to sleep sometime. You can try to block our internet. You can report our live stream. You can tell people that we're...
Hey.
Oh, we're back. I think we're back. Doesn't matter.
We're back.
We're going to keep coming at you, and we're going to keep trying.
Oh, good.
Wow. Still working. Looks like it's good on this end now.
Well, for the viewing audience, we were stuck for a bit there. We said a few things, but we pretty much slowed down because we could see that you weren't seeing, you weren't hearing, but we're back right where we were.
No need to link yet. We may have to if it comes down to it, but I'm going to try to get through this as quick as possible. Come on.
All right.
Marathon.
BDS.
Honey, don't say it 3 times like that. It's like Beetlejuice. What are you thinking?
That's right.
They just knocked our internet offline to try to interrupt our show because we're saying those words. I already told you what that stuff is, okay? Here's their page. Look at their page. You see up there that little cartoon? Can you make it bigger? I just want to show you. This cartoon goes with this divestment movement against Jews, and it says freedom, justice, and equality. Do you see it way up there? What does it look like? Make it bigger even more. Can you make it a little bit bigger?
I can try it.
Okay. I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like a dude.
With his pants down?
With his pants down, showing his butt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they still don't want me to think of bondage, shaving, and spitting. Like, it's a cartoon of a dude pulling down his
pants.
And it's just...
Wow. I have to put that on a different thing and enlarge that even more and really see. I don't know if I want to see it any closer.
Well, I'm going to show you more of that in a minute. I'm sorry. I just wanted to show you that it is their logo. It is their cartoon. This is their website. And then on this website, they're talking about how the Jews treat Palestinians like they treat, like the, white South Africans treated blacks in apartheid South Africa.
Wow.
That's their argument. That's what they believe.
Okay.
Now, whether you believe that or not, the idea that Jews should not exist as in that place, that they need to be removed completely. They don't have any land-based rights, I think is something that harkens to genocide.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like get rid of all of them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of the things that people notice and that people see. And I've talked to Palestinians and I've talked to Jewish people about this, and they seem to actually agree on what this BDS movement is about. They know and feel very uncomfortable about the way that it has wormed its way into American society and has been accepted by so many who don't even know what it's about or what it's doing. So I wanted to tell you how that connects to Standing Rock, because I don't know if you knew, but there was some people that were loosely connected to BDSM and a group that went there connected with that BDSM group to Palestine, and it was none other than Chase Lion Eyes and Tara Huska. Don't forget, Chase Iron Eyes is connected to the Lakota Law Project.
Mm-hmm.
He was at the last child camp and got a bunch of people arrested for no goddamn reason.
Yeah.
And Tara Huska, who was connected to the Red Warrior camp and raised millions of dollars for the camp. Tara Huska was also, I don't know if you remember this, I know it's going to hurt some of those Bernie bros out there, but she was the national, liaison for Native Americans for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
She was the one hired for that position with Bernie Sanders. Go back and look. I'm right about this.
Yes.
Tara Huska, one of the people that turned Brennan and Sam away. They went to talk to Tara Huska to ask her for help, to do the right thing. And they were getting turned away.
Yeah.
Here you have the post that they made. What does it say on it? What date is it? What's it say? Read it.
All right.
May 1st. And this is not that long ago.
Yeah, May 1st. And of course I found
A couple months.
another native in his foreign place, honored to learn and stand with the Human Rights Attorney Delegation to Palestine. Humanity can and must do better. The Attorney Delegation to Palestine?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. They're both fake attorneys. I forgot that. The fake Attorney Delegation to Palestine.
Oh my God, honey, I had water in my mouth.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I was just looking at about, Sarah.
I almost lost my
Tara
cookies.
Huska,
Mm-hmm. And then, this is what it says up there. Can you read that?
Yep. Make that bigger so I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Interfaith Peace Builders, IFPB. It's the little things that make the Justice Delegation so special, like this story of Chase Iron Eyes shared on Instagram. In the heat of thousands at a huge market in Ramallah, West Bank, Palestine, this brother Rafid came out of nowhere and says, Mitakawe o Oesin, which means we're all related in Lakota. He learns the word miigwech, thank you in Ojibwe. Zaka Boaki's language and refers to our homelands as Turtle Island. I don't know what kind of synchronistic 1 in a million chances this represents, but it was a blessing. Wopala. Check out Instagram, photos, and follow the Justice Delegation for more. Then he does a bunch of hashtags. And then
Eyewitnesses in Palestine, right?
That's right, eyewitnesses
There
in
they are.
Palestine.
Mugging for the pictures.
That's right.
Hanging out in Palestine. They took a bunch of videos too.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? Here's Tara and Chase in Palestine again. And this was a Chase post, and he says, what is he saying?
Meet a brother in the middle of a bustling market in the West Bank, Palestine, who says Mitaki Oyasin.
Mitakiya
Oyasin. We're all related. All that is my relative to us. Thank you for the blessings.
And next, and they're laughing it up. Ha ha hoi 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 hoi.
Got another one here.
This is interesting, okay? I'm going to want you to pay attention to the details on this particular person. Can you please describe it for our radio audience, that picture?
Okay,
Describe
picture.
The picture itself.
Picture itself, it looks like it's a wall.
Yeah.
It's probably in Palestine, and it has Liberate Palestine. Everyone has the right to leave any country, including his own. It has Chase and Tarahauska standing in the middle with their fists raised. And I can't read some of the graffiti. R.I.P.
I want you to focus on the area above their heads. All the way at the top there.
Okay.
It's cut off at the very, very top there. But it's like painted on. I believe they had graffiti artists with them.
Yeah.
That painted this on there. And I want you to enlarge it so you can read what it says in red there. Underneath that green and red spray painted.
Up here?
Yeah. What does it say?
From Turtle Island to Palestine.
So there was two. I can't see the whole thing because it's cut off. You know, they took the picture such that that little section of it cuts off, but I'm going to show you the piece that's missing there in a moment. What does he say, or what does Tara say with the post? From Turtle, what you just read on the wall, right?
Yeah, from Turtle Island to Palestine.
So they're referring to that piece of the wall in their post. As if this is what the Justice Delegation and they did at the West Bank in Bethlehem in solidarity. They posted that. And down there, that person, Matt Remmel, is the person that works with him at
The Last Real Indians. He says, to my faves, my two on my faves right
my
here.
faves right there. Two of his favorite people right there. What does she say?
All good inflammatory.
No, that's not her. Tara Hauska is the woman that we're talking about right now.
We can't control what people tag, but if you look above us, my comment from Turtle Island to Palestine is above us. Indigenous solidarity is why we stood here under the Turtle Island tag. Definitely not anti-Semitic in any capacity.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to show you what's on top of that. Those two things that were there were hearts, I think. Aren't they?
Yep, they're hearts.
Okay, so the thing that you were reading that they were standing under, I'm showing you the rest of that you couldn't see, right?
Yep.
There were two hearts, red or green. That's what it says. Which heart?
Yep.
And then the one and underneath it, it says from Turtle Island to Palestine, and there is a fist.
Yep.
It looks like that real progressive's fist.
It does.
And they, you know, Tara Hauska says, we have no control over what is tagged on this wall, as if they had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did or not, but they did stand under it, and they did point it out. And what's above it?
The BDSM logo.
The BDS movement logo. It's actually, it looks like a guy shrugging his shoulders with his hands behind his back. That's what it really is, I think. Like this.
Yeah,
you know, like
I can see that.
Head hanging down. Like he has his back to you. It did look like somebody was holding their butt out on that other one, though. It's kind of small, but that's what it looks like. Okay, I just want you to see.
We stand corrected.
You're gonna see it. You're gonna see it again on some other stuff. So there's Chase and Tara standing under the BDSM logo, taking a picture.
Yeah.
And Tara shyly, coyly saying, "This isn't anti-Semitic at all."
Not at all.
Okay, maybe not. Let's see what you think. What do you think of this? Here's Chase's tweet, in which he's comparing what's happening to natives here in the United States, and I'm assuming with regard to Standing Rock, where he was prominently featured, and Palestine. Can you please read?
Palestine is going through what we natives went through 100 to 130 years ago. Palestinians are living through Jim Crow laws right now, border walls, discrimination, constricted movements in all aspects of their lives, checkpoints daily, degradation and being hunted in Gaza.
Mm-hmm. Next. Here is one of the people that was on this delegation with Chase and Tara. His name is R. Saxena. I will tell you more about him another day. We don't have time now.
Mm-hmm.
But look at what he said. And he posted this along with a picture of what? Duke, describe the picture.
The BDSM movement.
No, it's called the BDS movement.
BDS. Okay, the BDS movement icon they're using with the guy with his arms behind his back, scrunched, crew cut.
Okay.
Barefoot.
It's tagged on the side of some shack.
Yep.
Right? It's on the edge of a hill there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Maybe it's an outpost.
Maybe.
What does it say with the post? What did he say? Read what he said.
It said, all refugees and internally displaced people have the right to live in dignity during displacement and the right of return.
The right to return.
Right to return.
Note that hashtag. Right to return. Okay?
Yeah.
Because some people have one interpretation of it and some people have others. My point, though, is there are certain phrases and catchwords that are used by certain movements. Like, you know how they use Minnie Wichoni at Standing Rock? You know, it's important to pay attention to some of that.
Okay.
Finally, next, we have here an article. It is from the Daily Wire, so take that with a grain of salt. But I wanted to teach you one of those other sayings that goes along with BDS movement, which has been heard being chanted here in the U.S. by Democratic Socialists of America and Young Democratic Socialists that joined marches where BDS movement people were, the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement. And this is what they were saying. Could you scroll up, please? Oh, it says right there in the headline.
I thought,
they were chanting. What were they chanting, Duke?
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Okay, now here's what that means, from the river to the sea. It means that they will remove all Jews from the river on one side and push them all the way into the sea. So there's like, from this point all the way into the sea, there will be no more Jews.
Okay, wow.
That's what it kind of is saying. And in the second paragraph there in this article, they kind of make a little bit of that more clear. It says, in short, BDS movement people erroneously believe Israel is an apartheid state, and they want Israel cut off from the rest of the world economically. And they want sanctions placed on the nation until it complies with their demands. In January, the Democratic Socialists of America released a statement in which they expressed a watered-down version of that demand of the BDS movement. Remember, the Democratic Socialists of America. They'll come in handy for you later. So, again, that from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free from Democrat Socialists. Following that vote, it's an anti-Zionist message, which is frequently chanted by those who would like to see Israel eliminated.
Okay, wow.
Eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Just know that. Next we see the co-chair, Tamika, the one I showed you at the podium in the Women's March. Here she is with Louis Farrakhan.
Oh.
He is also considered to be part of an extremist group.
Yeah.
However you feel about him and what he has to say, Tamika likes him.
Yeah.
Tamika likes him a lot.
Yeah.
And so does Linda Sarsour. Here's her post comment in yellow on the side there And the guy next to Louis Farrakhan with the baseball hat in is one of the people on that same. Can you make that bigger so we can read what she says? What does Linda Sarsour say there?
It's all blurry for me. Sarsour.
It says Linda Sarsour, and she tags Tamika Mallory, and she says, the brother does not age. Speaking of Louis Farrakhan, the brother does not age. God bless him.
Okay.
So there's some love from Linda Sarsour. But what else do we know about Linda Sarsour? Well, I know people know that she's out and she's campaign manager for El Said. I know that you know that she's been with Winnie Wong. I know that you know she's part of the Women's March and that she was part of the Poor People's Campaign along with Desiree Kane and a lot of these other phonies. But do you know her husband? Do you know that her husband is still back home in Israel? Did you know that she has 3 adult kids? Did you know that this is his Facebook page profile? It is. Take a look. This is his profile. This is the husband. This is his post. You'll see down there that he has some photos, one of which is Arafat there on the side. Got cut off a little bit. Next, I want you to go to the photo of his post. This is a post of him saying what I just told you. People that want to exterminate all the people in Israel say. He posted the song From the River to the Sea. Here's another post of his. And he is with Brigadier General Raed Tersha in Ramallah. I don't know who that is. But he has pictures of Arafat on the wall, and they seem to be very happy. He seems to be very happy to be in that guy's office. Here he is with Colonel Jamil. Also seems very proud of being next to this guy.
Wow.
And he's very much in love with Arafat. Here he is at the grave of Arafat.
Oh, my God.
He's visiting the grave of Arafat.
Wow.
You can look that up for yourself. And there is his 3 kids next to him. And there's Linda Sarsour in the picture with her 3 kids.
Wow.
Okay? This is Linda Sarsour's husband. This is what Linda Sarsour's husband ascribes to, and those are her kids.
Wow.
This is another one of her relatives, which I'm going to tell you about in a moment. His name is Salah Sarsour. Salah Sarsour. This is his profile and his family. And here is one of Salah Sarsour's posts. Incidentally, guess what? They love Turkey's Erdogan.
Okay.
Congratulations to Turkey. Congratulations to all of us. God knows the state of Ummah and our need for man's men. Oh God. As the joy of our chest Erdogan's victory, I am proud of the issuance of this nation to take the choice, not its customers. It's probably a bad translation. And then he says, Erdogan, something, Sultan. Congratulations to Turkey, to all of us. And then it just repeats, right?
Yep.
And there's a picture, and there's an article, and it's got a picture of Erdogan, and people are celebrating in the street. And is it any shock? Is it any surprise that one of Sarsour's family members, these people that are connected to Winnie Wong and all of these people, also have this love for Erdogan? How many people have we found posting about Erdogan? We even saw Linda Black Elk posted about Erdogan's recently. What is going on?
Yeah.
How come all these people suddenly are promoting this dictator from Turkey? I don't get it. Did Americans lose their mind, fall down and hit their heads and fall in love with dictators overnight?
I think so.
I don't know what happened. So here we have, and I'm going to go over all of this stuff for you in more detail later on, but I just wanted to show you the connections between her and her family.
Yeah.
This is Sala Sarsour with Linda Sarsour, and as you can see, the post is made with the title Family. And there's Sala in the picture right there next to, he's in the white there. And there is Linda Sarsour.
Yep.
So next we have a picture of Linda Sarsour posted by Sala Sarsour on Sala Sarsour's page. If you can scroll down, you can see his name there, Sala Sarsour. And it must be one of their relatives. And she's holding that little baby.
Yeah.
And next I have more about Sala Sarsour and what a congressional committee determined about him and the organization that he is connected to.
Yeah.
I put the link to this congressional testimony along with the links for this show so you can go and read the whole thing for yourself. It isn't from that long ago. As you can see, it's titled, dated here, April 19, 2016, lest you think this came from eons ago.
Yeah.
And is no longer, for some reason, relevant to today's news. It comes from a Washington, D.C. joint hearing before House Foreign Affairs Committee on a subcommittee on terrorism. Non-proliferation and trade, and the subcommittee on the Middle East and North Africa by Jonathan Schanzer, Vice President of Research for the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, and it's titled Israel Imperiled Threats to the Jewish state. So, this is what it says about Sala Sarsour. It says Sala Sarsour is an AMP board member. Y'all know what AMP is? Can you show them what AMP is real quick? Let's just, I'm going to diverge for a moment. Because some people don't know what this is, and you know I like to have an informed audience so that you understand with me what in the hell we're talking about. Can you read what AMP is for folks?
American Muslims for Palestine.
Yeah.
It's from Wikipedia. American Muslims for Palestine is a Muslim organization based in Palos Heights, Illinois. Really, it aims to educate people about Palestine and its critical of U.S. support for Israel. AMP was formed in 2005. As a volunteer organization until 2008. It is now a national organization with chapters in several states. AMP holds numerous fundraisers and is funded solely by donations. American Muslims for Palestine has its roots in the Islamic Association of Palestine, an anti-Semitic group which until its dissolution in 2004 served as a propaganda arm for Hamas in the United States.
You know what Hamas is, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We don't have to bring up the definition for that. Just
No.
tell people what Hamas is, honey.
Well, it's a terrorist group. You know,
It's a terrorist
yeah,
organization,
yeah, yeah.
yes. Okay.
And they were working with them. You know, Americans. Well,
American Muslim for Palestine was funding Hamas.
Funding Hamas.
Funding Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. So what did Salah Sarsour do? He is a board member of AMP.
Okay.
What we just told you funds Hamas. And in 2001, FBI memos to the U.S. Treasury Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, describes how Sarsour's brother, after being arrested by Israel in 1998, told Israeli officials about Sarsour's involvement with Hamas and fundraising activities of HLFRD, the Holy Land Foundation for Relief and Development.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to know more about them, there is more in this document. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you today. I don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to know who Salah Sarsour and his brother are and what happened to them and what their involvement is with a terrorist organization and the funding of that organization, Hamas.
Yeah, wow.
It says, go ahead and leave it up so I can finish. At AMP's 2015 conference, again, this was not that long ago, Sarsour was identified as the conference chairman, Salah Sarsour. On the advertising and sponsorship page for the conference, nonprofits that wish to donate to or advertise with AMP are instructed to contact Sarsour. Sarsour told Al Jazeera, quote, that the conference aims to keep up with the support that Palestinian people that the conference aims to keep up with and support the Palestinian people's continuous intifada. Close quote. Quote. Sarsour's past is cause for concern, according to Israeli sources cited in a book by former FBI and U.S. Treasury official Matthew Levitt. Sarsour's brother Jamil Sarsour told Israeli authorities that he and Salah used their Milwaukee furniture store's bank accounts to pass money to Adel Awadallah, who was the leader of the Qassam Brigades. The Qassam Brigades are Hamas's armed wing.
Oh.
According to Jamil, Salah Sarsour and Awadallah had become friends while sharing a prison cell. Salah Sarsour spent 8 months in jail in Israel for his Hamas activities. So, that is who
convicted
is working with Bernie's campaign.
Terrorist organizations.
Is working for Bernie's campaign. And we know we just found out that Bernie's campaign manager is listed in the Mueller indictment against Butina.
Wow.
So this is starting to turn into a quagmire among the people working on the Bernie Sanders campaign thus far. It is just making my head spin. How does no one vet the people they are working with?
Exactly.
Can you show me the second part of that testimony that I wanted to show people? Oh, can you show me the AMP leadership part, though? I want people to understand why people consider people that are connected to AMP extremists. Could you read that, please, honey?
Leadership ties to extremism. Many of the members of AMP's board and leadership have ties to the Islamic Association of Palestine. There are several members with particularly questionable backgrounds prior to the formation of American Muslims for Palestine. Salah Sarsour has been named in law enforcement documents as assisting in raising money for Hamas.
Salah Sarsour.
Yes. Sarsour's brother, Jamil, was arrested by Israel authorities in 1998 for providing military support to Hamas. Upon his arrest, he detained Salah's involvement in Hamas, fundraising through a Holy Land Foundation branch in Texas. Salah and Jamil also raised money for Hamas through a furniture store that they owned in Milwaukee. The money, as well as military support, went to Adel Adwala, who was wanted and killed by Israel in 1998. Wow. So they've been doing this for a while.
Next, I want to show you that Salar Sarsour testimony again. So right there in the second paragraph, it says another interesting supporter of AMP is the Prime Furniture Wholesale in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
That's the story we were just talking about. That store is owned by AMP board member Salah Sarsour, who was noted Bob reportedly uses the bank account of his family's furniture store in the 1990s to send money to Qassam brigades. That's Hamas, armed brigade.
Yes.
Commander Adel Awadallah.
Wow.
I ain't even getting warmed up yet, but it is time for the end. Friends, that's all I have for you today. What I got for you next time, if you can even believe it, is more amazing than what I showed you today. And let me just say, as a teaser, because you know I don't like to leave you hanging.
That's right.
Did you hear the story about the kids that were found in New Mexico?
Yeah, in the squalor.
In squalor, 11 kids.
Yeah.
Well, I will show you how Linda Sarsour is connected to that.
Wow.
On my next show. And the imam from that church, it's going to be an interesting show. You can do some homework in the meantime, but don't miss the next A Mexican Crossing Lines with Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
Here on 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Because if you miss a day, you miss a lot. Catch you